What's shaking, everybody? My name is Ross Mandell, and we're coming to you from Delray Beach, Florida, at Woolly Studios. I have a special supersized treat for you guys today. All the way from Dallas, Texas, my brother from another mother, Steve Kuclo, world-famous bodybuilder. Stevie, welcome, baby.
What an honor, Ross. It's been a minute. I think
it's been a long minute.
You said 10 years. It might be even longer since I've
seen
you.
I think 2013, I think.
Right around
That's
there.
what I'm thinking, right around 13. Yeah. I had just gotten a hernia surgery, like the day before you guys came in. You came with Big Al. Mm-hmm. Big Al Lewis, my brother from University of Maryland, and stayed at my house at Le Rivage. With my whole family was there. You got to meet the kids, and at that time, my in-laws were there, Carmine and Rosalie, both deceased. Both passed away while I was in prison. But you guys came, and I'll never forget meeting you because he's a real-life superhero, everybody.
I remember. We went and worked out. I mean, I remember you
yes,
had the surgery, but you
gym.
Still got in the gym and everything. There's no stopping this guy. There really isn't.
We walked into this bodybuilding gym in Boca, and like 12 guys came running over. Steve Kuclo, Steve's here that's going around the gym. And we did a little workout. And just, the funny thing is when we were working, hitting some of those machines, he takes the pin out, he puts it in the bottom. He's a strong boy. You're a strong boy. Now tell us about, you're 6 feet.
Yeah. I've always been on the taller side of, I guess, this in the sport of bodybuilding. Most guys are kind of in that 5'5" to 5'8" or 9 range.
Correct.
And like we talked about, it gives you that illusion,
Yes.
The more compact muscle, it looks a lot bigger. And then
correct.
On stage is where I've always kind of stood out because you have a 6-foot bodybuilder, 270, 280, 290 is close to the biggest I've competed at. And compared to a guy that's 5'8" or 5'7",
right.
That's 230 or 40, you're giving 50 pounds,
correct,
and a few inches, and that definitely makes a big difference.
And it's 50
and that's
pounds
what
like
I've always liked the bigger body. So
me too.
Yeah.
And I used to go to all the shows. I was a big fan of bodybuilding, and I never forget. Arnold would get on stage, and Franco Colombo was like his boy. To this day, they're friends. And he just, Arnold's like 6'2" almost, right? And he was only 240, but he had that height. And, boy, he looked pretty good. And the little guys, I think they have a separate class now for the smaller guys.
They do. They have the classic physique, which is kind of more the Arnold look, the more streamlined, mainstream, which I like. I really admire the class. The guys are phenomenal, the genetic shape of them. But, they just don't have the genetics to be 250 on stage.
Correct.
So it's a good fill in the gap for those guys that are kind of in between. And then they have the classic, the guys that don't like to train legs with the board shorts.
Big legs, boy, legs.
Ross, you touched on something that really, I have to say that the bodybuilding is niche of a sport it is. And a lot of people look at it like it's kind of a weird kind of, a bunch of people, muscle people that all they want to do is work out and get on stage oiled up. That's kind of an outsider
right.
looking in. But bodybuilding has brought me into so many other industries and met so many people from other areas, like from music to business to finance to other athletes that, because, you always talk about, winners attract winners, it's 100%. That energy.
That's what it is.
And bodybuilding has led me to connect with some amazing people like yourself.
Thank you. And, it's like, we were talking about this earlier off camera, but, working out used to be a weird thing, even when I was young, in the 60s and the 70s. You would play sports, and most sports teams didn't have weights. They said because, you can get hurt, and it makes your muscles too tight. They would talk to you about being limber and this and that. And today there's a gym every block in Florida. In every city in America, you got gyms and you got health clubs. It's all about being more than, about increasing your muscle tone, about protein. Years ago, today what we know about diet, all the bodybuilders knew this in the 60s.
We did.
And now testosterone, I take testosterone because my insurance company pays for it. I get it from CVS Pharmacy to give me 1 cc a week. And but back in the days, it was like, the rumors who were taking, they were taking juice out of the bull's balls. All that crazy shit, right? And when I grew up, the East Germans were always winning in all the weightlifting, the powerlifting contests because, they understood about human performance. And I think that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about being able to perform at greater heights and being healthier.
Yeah.
Being healthier. I mean, that's what these gyms are all about. And then when I see you, and I said to you earlier, I said, every guy I know works out. Every guy wants to look better.
Yeah.
And everybody goes to that gym. You can't go to a gym, and there's 24-hour gyms now. People go in the middle of the night because they work strange hours. And women now work out when they're pregnant and all different things. And as a man, we all, I believe, men strive to be you physically. Men strive to be my brother, Steve Kuclo. We're going to post some pictures he did. He posed a little bit with his shirt off. And,
on the spot, no
on
tan,
the spot, right off the plane.
Hey, a lot of guys wouldn't do that, but for you, Ross,
I'll be depressed now for about 7 or 8 days because I was hoping he softened up a little bit. You know, he's a dad. He got married to a lovely woman, and they have sort of like a beautiful life. Yeah. And he puts on sort of seminars and he trains people, and he's all about high performance and showing men how to get more from their life, how to get more health, how to get more physicality. Yeah. I mean, you know, listen, as an older guy now, I understand it's all about health.
It is. It's a balance. I think you have to understand balance. And with what I do now, with really helping people kind of optimize, upgrade their health, and it's creating an understanding like that. Everything has a role in overall health. The way you eat being number one. You know, movement, activity, workout,
right? Stress
management, the way you sleep, supplements. You know, your hormones. Everything has to be within balance. Everything, and then there's ways to truly optimize and upgrade all these.
And things. I understand balance is important, but the funny thing is, to be great at anything, something has to give.
Yeah, of course.
There's no balance if you want to be a world-class bodybuilder.
In the extreme, no. When we're talking overall health,
in general,
longevity, like being a great you, yes, 100%. But when you're talking to be at the top of a sport, the top of the top of the finance world, like
sacrifice.
There's things that are going to suffer. Like you launching a new business in the middle of kind of revamping what I'm doing and launching a new business. I mean, there's a lot of longer hours. There's things that are be sacrificed, but hopefully for a temporary.
Right.
You know, and I always tell people you can't rob Peter to pay Paul forever because something's going to break.
No question.
And so you just have to know when to get on the gas and when to let off it a little bit.
And also, listen, when you're married and you have a new baby.
That's life.
But there's a lot of sacrifice there too, right? You know, the single life is very different than, coming home to the wife and the new baby. And I see your face, in those videos and those pictures. It kills me. I miss that. I miss that. I loved, as you know, I have 2 daughters, and I love daddy, and as your son is going to idolize you his whole life, he's going to be your buddy. You going to have another one? What's the plan?
I always wanted to have
He's on the spot right now.
Child, and my wife and I have talked about it, and we were blessed to have this one amazing boy. After having one, I told her, I was like, I'd have 10. But you don't know if they're all going to be like him. But again, I think she was 44 when she had the baby. And,
really?
Yeah. I mean,
She's
we had
so gorgeous, bro.
Natural, no fertility. I mean, this was an absolute blessing, and he's our life, and it's my wife's 4th child. So,
I didn't know that.
She's like, I think I'm good on that. So, she's blessed me with an amazing boy. So I'm kind of like, if she's good with one at this point, I'm good with one, and he could be my legacy that he gets 100% of me to be, like pour into him and really.
I understand 100%.
And I'm good with that. Like I have peace with that too. So
but you're a virile motherfucker. Excuse my French. And unless she's doing something to, she's got a goalie in the net. My guess is you might slip one by accident. I mean, just might happen.
I know. I try.
Look at the size of you, bro. I mean, what? What? I feel like going to the gym right now. I'm embarrassed, I mean, this morning I was at the rheumatologist. I woke up, went to the rheumatologist. Then I went to get an MRI of my right shoulder. I got a cortisone shot on my right shoulder from the pain lady. 2 epidurals in the last 2 weeks. I mean, I got another one next week coming, a facet blocker. This is all because I never warmed up. I punched the bag too many times because I was frustrated by my legal stuff. But you tell us about injuries. I mean, Do they play a part in your life at all? Or?
Yeah, you learn to kind of manage pain. Like, it's funny, you know, in the doctor, when you will go to the doctor's office and they give you that little smiley face chart, 1 to 10, give me, you know, tell me where you're at. Like, well, damn, I live in like an 8 all the time. But, you know, but that's a, you know.
That's my life.
Yeah. But, I mean, you don't want to be in constant chronic pain. That's not good, you know, but learning to kind of, you know, manage soreness and, you know the difference between what is a true injury and what's just a little bit of pain to kind of work through. And when you're young, it's okay to, you know, because pain kind of makes you stronger. Going through some hard stuff, whether it's a personal thing or in the gym, you know, creating some pain and resistance against your body creates bigger muscle, creates a better, I think, a better person. So there's a natural supernatural correlation, I always call, like with life and with working out. Like there's a lot of that. But now I definitely look at, hey, you know, I'm going to lift smarter. I'm not going to try to ego lift. I'm not going to go in and put, you know, 5-6 plates on a bar and squat it. I protect
200-pound dumbbells. I seen him do it.
Every once in a while, you know, I just got to remind the young bucks who's their dad.
I got you.
That's what I do. You know, some of these young kids come in, they think I said, all right, let me just show you what this guy's still made of.
100%. Hey, the lion is the king of the jungle, bro.
That's right. But for the most part, no, I lift a lot smarter. Even with training a lot of my clients, you know, if they're older or have a little injuries, I say that we're going to train smarter, not necessarily harder in some ways. We're going to protect your lower back. We're going to make sure your form's right. Like, watch the movement of the body, understanding the mechanics of the body, and when you see the way somebody moves and way the range of motion they have, et cetera. You know, a lot of things playing roles like flexibility, you know, hydration, the way somebody's truly taking care of their body with nutrition. You know, all these things play a factor in you know, inflammation in the body and pain, et cetera.
Yeah, it's a big thing. I mean, I live in pain now all the time, and I went like 10 years with no medical treatment. Yeah. But I have a bunch of stuff to talk to you about.
Come on, let's bring it.
You know, we're prepared here at the Ross Mandell podcast. They call it Going Public.
That don't do you justice. You're a lot better looking than that.
I think so.
Come on.
I think so. And I sort of look like mixed race a little bit. I mean, you know, so for all you guys out there that are wondering, you know, I have my fun.
That's right.
How did you first share with us a story, you know, how you first got into bodybuilding and fitness?
It started the addiction, I'll say, of the weight room started from kind of, I was an athlete growing up.
What type? Tell us about that.
I played hockey at a real high level, you know, travel hockey, the high level that you see. I mean, all the sports have really expanded since 20, 30 years ago.
Unbelievable.
Than more
unbelievable.
It was now. But I mean, you have so many different select leagues and all that, and I played like what would be equivalent to that. And
but you can skate on the ice, you're saying?
Yeah. I haven't put skates on in a while, but I still. Yeah,
that might be one of the reasons your legs developed the way they did.
Oh, absolutely. That's a big factor. And then you know, got into high school, started football. And I just love the physicality, and I always wanted to be the biggest, fastest, strongest guy.
I love it.
So I had the drive to always, after the practices, I would go to the weight room. I would always try to, you know, get bigger because I saw the older guys that had some muscle, and I was like, I admire that. I was like, that's cool.
I did too.
I had, you know, and had the magazines. I watched Pump and Iron a million times growing up, and you know, and would watch Mr. Olympia, and my mom was very physically active too. She went to the gym, and that was kind of
your mother did.
Yeah, it was my mom. My dad worked crazy long hours in the restaurant business, so my mom was actually, you know, she had a very regimented workout routine and
discipline.
And so she would take me every once in a while, and I loved the iron. Iron was the drug of choice for me growing up.
I love it. I love it. That's a great quote.
And so yeah, wanting to be the biggest, fastest, strongest guy, it kind of just led me into. You know, the first couple times you get in the gym and then you get that pump and you're like, I mean, it kind of, not to quote Arnold here, but you're
better
like, man, it's like, you see your arms get a little pump, shirt gets a little tighter, you start seeing some little lines. You're like, wait a second, like, this is kind of fun. So, I mean, I wouldn't call myself an easy gainer, but I got results. When you get results, you're like, hey, I'm onto something. I like this. And I think I was about 18 years old when first time I joined like a real gym. It was a powerhouse gym up in Michigan.
Big name.
And
that's where you grew up, Michigan.
Yeah.
I want everybody to know.
So I remember going to the gym, and there was a bunch of like what I look like bodybuilders that train there, these monsters. And I was like, here, this young kid coming in.
I want that.
You know, and these guys looked at me like, man, this kid's got something, and they're like, you should compete one day. And I'm thinking, I gotta be like Dorian Yates or Ronnie Coleman to get on stage, not thinking that, hey, I might, everybody has a starting point at some point, need to work their way up.
Correct.
If you have the genetics or you have the work ethic to get there, I mean, we can do it.
They saw something.
They saw something. So I ended up connected with the first guy I ended up working out with, training with, and was my first coach. And, laid out a diet plan for me, put it together, ended up doing a show and did really well. Won the teenage, placed like third in the men division.
Really?
Not knowing a thing about bodybuilding other than what was on this little 8x10 piece of paper. Weightlifting. You're just moving weight and just kind of going through,
But you're also an athlete, so you had a good athletic body
have a good foundation for it.
The genetics.
The genetics were there, and that's huge. In bodybuilding, like genetics is probably 80 to 70% of
at the pro to get to that level.
Yes, because there's so many things about proportion and size and the way your body could get conditioned and leanness. All that. So
anybody can weightlift. Anyone can bodybuild.
Yeah, anybody can take a ton of drugs too, and that doesn't mean they're going to get huge.
I like that too. But the point is that I don't want anyone to be discouraged and think you have to be Steve Kuclo. So people go to the gym and you can be great, much more than you can imagine. But not everybody can get to that level.
No, and I don't want everybody to think like if I want to be healthy or get to the gym that that it has to be at the level that I compete at or have to be. That's not the case. Like everybody has their own individual goals and their own ultimately like what they want to achieve for their health and wellness, and that's what I like to help with people try to find that, and explore that, and ultimately achieve that.
I love that. I've turned into an educator in my life and a motivator, a teacher, and that sounds like you're on the same path.
It is.
It's amazing, and you at your particular arena, you're truly a gladiator. So anybody that's anywhere near Dallas, Texas, I'm sure you probably do remote too, right?
Absolutely.
You can do remote stuff.
Work with a lot of guys.
I love that stuff. Yeah. Wow. And what I did was we asked people, what do they want to know? And so one of the questions was, and it's something that is, I think I know the answer, but I want to ask, what inspired you to compete at a professional level? Because there's all different levels. It's a tough sport. When you move up the ranks, the dieting, anyone can get big. I was big at one point. Anyone can get big. But to get big and to get lean is crazy, bro. What inspired you to go pro?
And I think the biggest thing with that is the amount of sacrifice. A lot of people don't understand.
It's all sacrifice.
It's all sacrifice.
Pain.
Like we go back to pain, but we also go. My birthday's in August, and August, if you're competing in Olympia for years, was September.
Oh my God!
So guess what? For at least 10 years, I never celebrated a birthday because.
Well, you celebrated, but you didn't eat like. It was your birthday.
I got a few phone calls and that's it. No birthday cake, and because guess what? Olympia was in 4 weeks, and that's crunch time for prep.
Right.
So they're sacrificing holidays or missing things that most time that most people would just not even think twice about and go and have a few drinks, eat some pizza, or have some cake, whatever it is.
We just walked by a bowl of candy that Scott Woolley keeps outside on Sal's desk, the receptionist, and I stopped and I had a Kit Kat. Stevie had nothing. No. Just drinking water. And he's not competing right now. He's competing. You're always competing.
Yeah.
Competing with yourself.
With myself, sure. I want to be the best version of myself,
Great.
and especially now, like reframing life as a father and to a young child, it's like, how could I be the best dad? How could I be the best example? And I always say, like, I want my wife to be the guy that she could brag to her friends or to people that say, my husband,
trust me, she already is. She doesn't even have to say anything, bro. You just have to fucking show up. And, I'm sure she's so proud of you. I see the way she looks at you in the pictures, I've yet to meet her. I look forward to coming down. I've been invited to Dallas to be on Primetime Stein show. Mm-hmm. And I think about, Al offered me a room in his house. And I think about coming and spending a day or two with you and doing some things. It's exciting. But your inspiration to compete, I know at that level you got to know water. Mm-hmm. It's brutal, right?
Yeah.
At the professional level. I mean, to go on stage at the Arnold, you've done that.
Or even in Vegas at the Olympia.
That's
when it's 100 degrees outside, as dry as could be, and
you have no water,
for 2 days. Yeah. That one you have to dig deep in your soul to say, why am I doing this? What the hell is this? What kind of torture am I putting myself through? But to answer your question, like a lot of it is, like the why. I think I find a lot within is just like really. I come from that competitive background, and I know my father always wanted me to be a pro, and whether it was hockey or whatever I did was kind of reach the high.
And you competed in
level.
sports, at high level.
But if you say maybe there were some idols, I mean, guys like that I would say looked up to early on in my career, or the guys that I said, I would like to achieve that, like the Jay Cutler or the Arnold Schwarzenegger, like looking at those guys and be like, I admire that.
And what they've done with their lives as well.
Absolutely. Outside of just competing and being a bodybuilder and utilizing the platform to kind of grow. So that's kind of been would be my inspiration to why or the guys that kind of laid the foundation to move forward in it. Absolutely.
What's the biggest show you ever won?
One of the Arnold Classics. I did the
an Arnold Classic.
Yeah.
You guys hear that?
That's right.
What? I knew that answer.
But I think
very humble.
One of the coolest titles was when I won the Mr. USA. Like that was one that launched me to be a pro.
A pro. You have to win a national.
Yeah, there's
event.
Back
NPC.
When I competed, there was only like 2 or 3 shows that only gave out like 1 or 2 cards per show.
In order to be a pro, people don't know you have to win an amateur contest.
Now
there's a
lot more shows and a lot more cards given. So
in the day when you did it, it was brutally competitive. I mean,
brutally competitive. The amateur national level shows were almost more publicized than even a lot of pro shows.
Correct.
People want to know who were the up and coming guys.
Correct.
Who were the top 5 guys going into the show. Where I had cameras follow me for 8 weeks going into the show. They wanted to watch every workout. They want to know what we're doing. Like it was day in the life, in the trenches with the guys.
I subscribed to 5 magazines for my whole life, so I knew.
I mean, and it's a shame that it's not quite like that because social media has kind of diluted that. Where people went to just one area to watch it. Now people could just follow somebody on social media and they get,
it's unbelievable.
Know everything that person's doing nowadays.
Every single thing, and my whole life is open right now.
Yeah.
To the cameras.
Oh, your story is amazing, Ross. I always say you need to have a movie. There needs to be I'm sure
it's being negotiated. I actually have a call tonight with a producer. He's in the Philippines editing his last movie, but I have a lot of opportunities. A lot of people approaching me. I haven't signed anything yet. I'm waiting for Martin Scorsese. I'm waiting for the big boys,
right.
I'm waiting for big boys. Tell us about some pivotal moments or challenges that you had early in your career, that maybe you had to overcome. Injuries, nonsense with maybe money,
absolutely. I mean, there's always the life things that come in the way.
Correct.
There was divorce that kind of happened.
Yes.
There was relational things. Career. I was dual career for a long time, working as a firefighter paramedic for the city of Dallas, and then pursuing a career in bodybuilding for so long.
Hold on now. I want the world to know this. Okay.
Yeah.
Stevie was a firefighter, a medic. He still lists that on your profile.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of guy he is. Goes to the firehouse and cooks the meals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for real.
They like my cooking, yeah.
But for real, you are, it's very special. A lot of people would say, you move past those guys, but you're not like that.
Right. No. I one of the best things that was ever told to me, it was the same people you see coming up is the same people you see coming down. Meaning, like, if you get to the top, a lot of, and then you have the people, don't forget about me on your way up.
Correct.
Like, I never did. I always brought them people with me, the people that are there supporting me, family, friends. Like, I want them by my side all the way to the top, and then, we're gonna ride it out no matter what. And
listen, it's be careful how you treat your employees, because one day you might be working for them.
Yeah.
Now that never happened to me yet, but the truth is, I get it. And life is a series of, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's up and down, and you meet challenges, and you got to be good to people.
Yeah.
You
absolutely.
really do.
And
it doesn't always come back, but you know what? I do believe that, people pay things forward. And, I was very good to a lot of people. I go to prison, all this nonsense I went through. And, people have been with me the whole time. And now they come out of the woodworks for me. I got to say one thing, and I know it's going to be something that's on people's minds right this second. You're wearing a shirt, and it says God.
One nation under God.
I love it. So tell us about God. One thing I loved about Stevie is he talked to my family about Jesus Christ, about his belief in a higher power that he chooses to call God. Talk to the audience about this.
To me, like, faith has been the foundation that's got me through every storm in life.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Every storm.
I mean, you kind of going back to that last question too. Other challenge. I mean, before my last, it was 2022, before my last show that I competed in 2022, August of 22.
Right.
My wife, we found out about a month and a half, about a month and a half before the show, my wife was pregnant, and it was incredible. Like,
wow,
in the middle of a prep, I mean, not thinking, hey, we're shooting blanks, maybe. Who knows? You know, when your body's going through what you stress you put it through.
I guess it works. I might have to go through a little prep now.
So
that's a great story.
This is
scary. I get it.
The problem that ended up happening. It was about a week before the show. We went to our first major checkup deal, and at the checkup, my wife all of a sudden she started bleeding, and then she miscarried the baby a week before the show.
Oh my God.
And that was the absolute most heart-wrenching thing I ever had to go through, to see my wife crushed and to know, that child, losing a child was extremely hard. But I still got on that stage, and I absolutely battled it out with every ounce of my heart. And that was probably one of the hardest moments in my career, having to man up and say, you know what, I'm not going to stop. We're gonna follow through with what we committed to. But having to get through that was heart-wrenching, and it put a whole new, I can't even explain.
Did you talk to God and say, "What the fuck"?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of only God knows why, and at the same time, I always have I always try to spin things on there's a bigger reason we don't see. You know what? Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe the baby wasn't going to develop right. Whatever it is, I mean, you look at the miracle behind that. And we were blessed with, about 6 months after that, she got pregnant again, and that's where we have our beautiful child now.
I don't know what the sex life is looking like, but I got a feeling. One trip to South Florida, next thing you go home, and there's a lot of happy, and
there you go.
9 months later, little Ross comes around.
There you go. But yes, God's played a big role in my life, and
you were God-fearing man. You are a church-going man.
Absolutely. And I believe, God is light, and I believe we're called to be light in this world. And there's a lot of darkness in this world.
There's plenty of darkness.
And you want to know, to me, it's like you can walk in a room and see if somebody, there's an energy, there's something, you walk in a room, you light up a room.
Thank you.
Because you have a light within you. God's within you, and I believe that, and if you receive that, then you could be that. And I believe God's called us to be great. We're not called, I don't believe God creates us to be small or play small. I believe we're called to, to do big things, if Jesus is the King of Kings, then he's got to have some kings on this earth. And I believe, we're called to be kings.
Listen, I like to say, I pray to a God that created the universe in a blink of an eye. That's who my God is.
Correct.
He created the universe.
And
he doesn't want me to be a grain of sand in this deal.
Correct. And he created us in his image.
In his image.
Which means we are little gods. We are created in his, to me, that's one of the most powerful verses in the Bible, in the Torah, that if it says, and this is, if you look at, you want to go back to the history of humanity, and we've been given snippets based off of tablets that were Sumerian tablets.
Correct.
Genesis was really created written before, the tablets were written before that.
Before recorded writing.
Right. So
comes from somewhere.
That is absolutely profound if you reflect on that.
You're a masterpiece.
Yes.
You are a fucking masterpiece.
You look
God created you in his own image.
You look at our DNA, it's got God's signature all over it.
My problem is my God was probably short, a little overweight, a little chubby, and your God was like a king. Big boy, but I'm playing. But, we're all masterpieces, and I do believe that. I believe we carry light, and I think, the Orthodox Hebrews believe that we have two souls. We have an animal soul, and we have a spiritual soul.
Yeah.
And whichever one you feed is going to be dominant in your life. And, they believe that we are the light, and that's our job, is to bring light to this material world, and I love that about you, bro. You know, I want you to know that I felt that when I first met you. You know what I'm saying? And I see the evolution in you as a man. I can physically see it. You know what I'm saying? I physically can feel it, you know, that aura, that presence, you know. You obviously have a big presence.
Thank you.
You know, some men walk in a room and they shrink. You know that. And some men, you don't, you know, you can meet 32 times and you're like, I don't really remember them. You know, you are very memorable, bro. It's and I'm just proud of the man you become.
Thank you.
You know, I really am. I mean, it's crazy. It's just so crazy. Your most memorable competition and why? I think you just told us.
Yeah, the two big shows I mentioned, the Arnold Classic that in South America that I won, and then the Mr. USA was a big one.
But
too.
the one that's most memorable, I hate to say for a negative reason, is the one where you found out about your wife. Yeah. What a man you are to go on that and still continue with the, you know, you had every reason to sort of punk out.
Sure.
You had a legit reason, you know, and
you know, but and it shows the woman that I call my wife, that is so like a foundation for me, a rock for me, because she was there to encourage me to still go, to move forward. Right.
In spite of what she was going through.
In spite of it. Yeah,
because when you're preparing for competition, it's very selfish.
Absolutely.
Right? You're in your own little world, your own little bubble. Everything is measured, every ounce of fluid, what the fluid is. I mean, you know, what time you have to eat, how much you have to eat, you know. And, you know, if you're with somebody that's accommodative, it makes it easier.
Absolutely.
If she's sitting around eating Big Macs and fries, you know, and you're eating a little cup of rice and some protein, what the fuck? You know, the mental and physical preparation. I mean, how do you do it?
Bodybuilding is probably 80% mental, especially toward the end. The physical part, you know, when you're a little more calorie surplus, have more energy. You're like, this is no problem. But mentally, but when you're really restrictive calorie and your mind starts, I call it like dieter's brain. Because there's a point usually in prep where I kind of use this analogy and joked with people. I was like, your wife could be laying naked in front of you, or there could be an apple pie, and you'll take the apple pie because you're that hungry.
I understand.
You're like, that could wait. I'm going. But you know, but I know when guys I've trained or myself, when I've got to a point where I'm just like mentally, just it's extremely hard. You're kind of in the arena. You're a gladiator in that battle.
Yes.
That's when you know like you're where you need to be. If you were like happy-go-lucky, this is great. I was like, you still got a few points of body fat you need to drop before you.
I get it, bro.
You know, because our brain runs on fat. Our and so many of our hormones are created with fat. So it's like you're really dehydrating all these things in your body, not just water and all that. So it's
you have nothing left.
You got nothing left. You're running on fumes.
I understand. Well, that's how you get to that sort of water-free, that tight look. I feel like you have it now. It's so crazy.
I think it's just been years of conditioning, years and years.
But that waist of yours and that abs, what? Because there's a lot of big guys. I don't know if they're as big as you, but there's a lot of big guys. But then, take the shirt off and they're like me, they're fat.
Yeah. And it kind of, I think, goes back, we talked genetics, we talked athletics. Right. But I've also really changed in the way I eat, but for the better.
But you're mindful.
Yes.
You're mindful. Well, you don't just walk by a bowl of candy and pick
because I understand everything we put in our body is going to impact it one way or another.
Everything.
Every single thing. We like our bodies don't produce energy by itself. We have to feed it energy, like a vehicle. A vehicle doesn't run unless you put fuel in it.
So what did you eat today?
What I eat today?
Tell us. Be honest.
100%. And I travel and everything too.
I know. That's what I'm asking.
And I still bring food with me and everything. So I always wake up every morning. I make my breakfast the day before because I work and I have clients at 6 a.m. and I go meet them. So I make a breakfast smoothie that I have every single morning, and it's loaded with nutrition. It's got a nutritional powder in it that's got protein and all the right vitamins that I need specific for me. I add, there's greens, healthy fats, healthy carbohydrates. I put
in this smoothie.
Fruit. I put probably about 3 to 4 servings of fruit in there. I mean, it's packed with nutrition. So that's in it, and it's
how big is this smoothie?
It's a big. For me, it's big. Most people probably it's 20 to 30 ounces. It's about 50 to 60 ounces for me. So I drink it over about an hour, you know, and that's
you sip it.
I sip it, and that's my breakfast in the morning.
Is it tasty?
It's great. I mean, I love, and you know,
I know,
in
you get used to
bodybuilding,
it. I
you
get
get
it.
used to eating for function, then like have to be good. But honestly, fruit and you know, some natural flavoring and like a vanilla, like it's a fruit smoothie.
It's all right.
It's good. I like it.
After a whole night of not eating, you would really
That's
have
right.
something.
So.
And so that's it.
That's what I had for breakfast. Lunch, I had.
Hold on, nothing between breakfast and lunch.
No, I didn't. I don't snack. I'm not a like I try to
What time do you eat that
reduce.
smoothie? What time do you eat that smoothie?
Usually have between 7 and 8 a.m.
Okay,
but this morning I had a little early because I had to catch an early flight.
All right.
But then lunch I had brought I ate about 6 to 8 ounces of steak, and then I had some roasted sweet potato that I made with me.
And you're cooking it.
Yeah. My wife's an amazing cook. You know, we share the role. Like if she's working or out with doing stuff, she got home last night. I had dinner ready for her. You know, I was like,
nice.
Hey, babe, I got dinner waiting for you.
What'd you make for her?
She wanted some healthy tacos. So I made make some healthy guacamole. I made some. I do a mix of like bison and a grass fed beef.
I mean,
you make it. You don't have to go full bore. You know, like. Crap food
ladies,
all the time. Like
imagine you work all day, you come home, and this man is cooking healthy tacos for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a dream. You're going to have women writing in here, you know. What would you do for a girlfriend? I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Holy moly, that's a beautiful story. Yeah. So you had this 6-8 ounces of steak.
Yeah, some sweet potatoes. I'm big. You know,
you eat it on the plane, so it's raw.
I ate it right when I got off the plane. So I ate,
off the plane.
Yeah, so I ate off the plane.
But it's cold.
It was cold.
Yeah,
you get used to eating kind of cold
food.
I don't mind. You know, I do like a warm meal, yes, but sometimes you have to just do what you got to do.
I understand. So that's it so far today?
Yeah, and I'll probably eat probably 3 to 4 meals a day. Now, when I competed, I was 6 to 7 meals a day. It was a lot, but I understand there's a transition in life. There's a transition. There's a healthier way to approach things with nutrition. Eating that many meals a day, like, can I still probably do it? Yes, but that takes a toll on your digestive tract. That takes a toll. There is extra stress that comes with extra food too. So for me, it's managing, the stress in my body, cortisol, the oxidative stress, all these things.
That all these things about.
Yes, and I've eaten a lot more. Like I've transitioned to eating as much organic food as I can. Like, for a long time when I competed, I was like, I don't care. I'm just going to eat healthy, or eat natural or whatever
it is.
Whatever's on my diet, I'm going to eat, But I'm much more conscious and aware of eating more organic, more single ingredient food. Try to cut out the processed junk. And how much healthier my body is. Like in Texas, there's terrible allergies. You go in Texas in the summer, you may never not have allergies. Come to Texas, I guarantee you're going to be sneezing, you're going to be eyes going to be running, all that kind of stuff. And I used to have to go through the summers having to take 2 allergy pills a day just to get through.
Wow.
I didn't touch an allergy pill this year because my immune system I've strengthened. I've reduced inflammation in my body. My body can see an allergen and come in contact with it and not inflame and have a histamine response like I used to. So it's like
I think a lot of that is food, organic food.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at the stress that a lot of these the toxins that are in the foods, the pesticides.
That's
all these
my new
things.
thing, by the way. Everything's organic.
Absolutely, and it makes a big difference. There's amazing things. Like if you guys just want to, hey, where can I find out about this stuff? Like EWG.org. It's an environmental working group. They come out with a list every year of the foods that are like they call it the Dirty Dozen, Clean 15. Dirty Dozen, or the Dirty Dozen are 12 foods that you should never eat non-organic because they are loaded with pesticides and chemicals and all that stuff. And then the Clean 15 you could eat if it's not.
Gary Brecker, I watch his videos and all these things.
Yeah, Gary's been great at putting out some amazing information and kind of creating awareness to a lot of the things that you can do.
What he did with Dana White.
Absolutely. Some of his stuff, it's I'm not the biggest fan of. Everybody's got their own styles,
right? And he's selling. He's in business,
rightfully so. But
he's educational.
He's done a great job at creating awareness on things.
Yeah, he's opened up the doors.
Absolutely, and that's what I believe. There's this new wave of information and people wanting to understand more natural health and how to do these things. And that's where I've really the last year and a half have really dug into getting all certified in holistic. I'm now board certified as a holistic health practitioner.
Who knew?
Integrative health practitioner where it's functional. It's
That's wonderful. You couple that with your existing knowledge of how to alter a physique.
Truly understanding longevity, truly understanding wellness.
there's no way to put a price on that. It's so brilliant.
No.
Because with what you know about building a male physique, probably a female as well, but couple the internal stuff, because the physical stuff is obvious.
Yeah, it could look good, but it may not be so good inside. My thing is, let's get inside right.
Let me tell you, when I right before I met you, I knew that I was a good chance I might go to prison, and I had gotten a hernia because my insides were coming out of my belly button, literally, and the doctor told me, my main doctor told me, my primary said, listen, you go to prison, there's nothing they're going to do for you. You're not going to survive with your intestines coming out of your fucking... So I had to get a hernia surgery. And when I went to see the guy, I was doing a lot of steroids, a lot of tests, working out several times a day. I was fighting, hitting the bag, all these different things. And I went to see the surgeon. He said to me, I see a lot of guys like you come here, and you look pretty good on the outside. And then when I go inside, it's a mess. And I talked to him about all that. And he said a lot of big bodybuilders, named guys, they not that healthy.
Yeah.
They look good. Like with Ronnie Coleman, for God's sakes. They say he can't walk. Yeah. That's what happens when you're squatting 800 pounds.
Yeah, and then you're not listening to your body.
Correct.
You get surgery done, and you go back 2 weeks later, and you break what you just fixed. So
it broke my heart when I saw that.
Yeah.
He's a Texas guy too, supposedly a very good guy.
He is. Ronnie's great.
But, that he can't walk, because this was a guy that everybody used to stare at. And he would be doing those squats. And I used to say to myself, how can anybody do that?
The epitome. He's the GOAT in bodybuilding, no doubt. No doubt.
But you didn't need that. That's, crazy, 800 pounds to the floor. So we talked about a few things here. And this is an interesting question. Mm-hmm. You've competed at the highest level. You've been on the stage at the Olympia, the Arnold, the big ones, right? Sure. What's the biggest lesson you've learned through this experience, achieving sort of greatness?
One of the things I think we talked about even a little bit, it was always competing with myself, not always worried about the other guy.
Correct.
Because I don't have control of the other person.
Correct.
I can't control what they do, how they eat, how they train, all the factors that play into,
Right.
I can only control what I can control.
Correct.
That was myself. And that goes a lot in life. Like, I'm not going to worry about somebody else or what they're doing. It's not going to affect me. So I have truly to control myself.
So tell me, the biggest lesson is the focus is on you.
Just focusing on what I can control.
Don't worry what this guy's doing.
No, and there's going to be times where you don't win or you fail or you come short, and not letting you getting knocked down with, to me, every time I got up and either I placed second or I placed 10th or whatever it was, I was like, all right, this is what I learned from it, and this is what I have to do moving forward. And I got up and I was going to become better because of that.
They say, you learn from your losses or your failures. You never really learn from your wins.
No.
Because you're high on your own self.
Absolutely. I was the shit, but then when you get kicked and you feel like shit.
Yeah. That's when you really learn.
That's when you learn.
They say, getting back to what we talk about pain, pain is a touchstone to growth.
Yeah.
Without pain, there's no growth. There's no change. It's bottom line.
Absolutely.
You gotta understand the setback, the failure. Look at MMA. Everybody's lost a fight. John Jones, the only one, and he lost a disqualification, which was stupid.
Right.
But that's how you really learn in life. I believe that. Setbacks. You have to use it as a springboard to go forward. So I talk about my prison. I say it's going to be an asterisk in my life.
Absolutely.
What I'm going to do now is my third final actually to be spectacular. When people look back at me, they're going to say, "Oh yeah, and he went to prison. Can you imagine this guy?"
Right. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're taking that circumstance. You're taking that and you're creating something.
I'm going to use everything I can to launch me. Yeah. They wanted to make me bigger than this, bigger than that. Thank you, United States government. That's what they wanted to do. Yep. I knew what lawfare was before Donald Trump, and they came at me pretty good.
Right.
Now let's talk about modern life, because you have become a success story. I look at you and I admire, and you're first now entering sort of a man's prime. I have to say a boy doesn't even become a man till he's 40. I tell this to women. I have a lot of women call me. They ask me, my husband, my boyfriend, he's like a child. This guy, I said, look, how old is he? 32, 36,
exactly,
whatever.
exactly.
And I have a lot of mastermind clients now, people that are signing up and paying for my time. And I'm like, bro, you're a child. This guy's like a 36-year-old multimillionaire. And you know what? He's a child to me.
Yeah.
That's one of the great things about being older.
Absolutely.
Everybody's a kid.
And some people never grow up, so it's...
I don't think I ever will. I don't think I ever will. But, you know, you do collect packets of wisdom along the way, little nuggets.
Correct.
So you really transitioned now.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody cannot tell that you're a competing bodybuilder. I mean,
I still put in the work. I still live the lifestyle. I still eat right. I still train hard.
Bro, you probably you would be in the top 5 in every competition right now, so. Except maybe the Olympia, and that's just because you need more drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
You need more training. But I'm just saying, in any show, you're a monster. There's no way you go where somebody says, look at the other guy.
Right.
No, they're staring at you. I'd like to go to the beach with you.
Let's go.
Nobody would notice my fat stomach. But you've made this transition now into entrepreneurship, right? What sparked that shift?
I knew there's eventually a time where, that the chapter ends.
Bodybuilding is a young man's game,
but and I'd say the prime of bodybuilding is probably 30 to 40,
right?
And I know I'm toward the end of that, and I've always kind of knew like I couldn't put all my eggs in that basket. Meaning, like, again, I've seen guys say like Ronnie Coleman that went all in on it, and I get it. He's the greatest at what he did, but then after, you see a lot of competitors that have to retire. They're old, they get hurt, whatever it is, and then it's like this. Oh shit! I've lost my identity. I've lost who I. It's all I know is Steve the bodybuilder. Is that I didn't want to be. That's all I know.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's easy. That's extremely hard to think. I have to kind of reinvent myself and create a new version of me in some way because, yes, a lot of my identity, a lot of my success has been built in Steve the bodybuilder, Steve Kuclo the bodybuilder. But at the same time, I was like, I've also worked on creating Steve Kuclo the human that people know as well and I always wanted to be known as a good dude. And I don't have to be liked by everybody, but at the same time, like I'm a man of my word. I'm going to commit. I'm a loyal person. I follow through with what I say. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to bring my best to the table. Like and I mean, you could ask the people that are close to me, my friends that are amazing people as well. Like there's amazing people who want to surround themselves with amazing people. Like I've called on some friends for some favors in the recent, and it actually brought me to tears when they said, "Whatever you need, I'm there."
Love it.
And I always say, like, in order to have a friend, you have to be a friend.
That's exactly right.
And there's a lot of people out there that are very transactional in relationships.
Yep.
Like, hey, what could you do for me, and then I'll be your friend.
Exactly.
For me, I'm a relational guy. Like I'll give you the shirt off my back, whatever you need, and then maybe that one day if I do have to call on you, you'll be there for me. And I know the people in my corner
100%. 100%. I feel like I haven't seen you in 10 years, but I feel like it's yesterday.
Yeah.
You're that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I told everybody here, I said, this guy's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
And I'd say you're a bodybuilder. You're Steve the firefighter. You're Steve the hockey player. You're Steve the dude from Michigan. Now you're the dude from Texas.
That's right.
You're the dad, the husband. And I see you. It's funny because I never really saw you as Steve the bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I looked at you as Al's friend, and
likewise.
And Steve is just a great guy. That's how you always described to me. And because of social media, I feel like I know more about you than I do.
Right.
Really, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you get to see what's going on.
Well, you
day-to-day.
can.
Yeah.
A lot of people look for the bad, the negative. Well, they don't. They
Right,
put these phony things. Who cares?
Yeah,
all day long you could look at the positive and negative. I choose to look at the positive.
Yeah.
Every day I wake up, I say it's going to be a great day.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great fucking day. You have a choice.
I mean, if you want depressing stuff, just go watch the news for an hour, and then you're going to be depressed.
Listen, I was a drug addict for a lot of years, right? And I could go into a city, a hotel, a friend's house, land at the airport, and within an hour, I knew where to get drugs. I knew where to get escorts. I knew where to get the seedy things in life, so to speak. And I learned when I got clean. I said, how am I going to get sober? I don't know anybody. I don't know one person that doesn't do drugs, that doesn't, hang out with limo drivers and, escorts and go to, seedy places and all these different things. And I learned that if you look for good, you're going to find good.
Yeah, you look for bad, you'll find the bad.
And if you're looking for dark, you're going to find it.
That's it.
It comes out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
Like, it's just an unbelievable thing. I'll never forget the first time I went to an AA meeting. I stood up, I said, my name is Ross. I just got out of Silver Hill. I'm sober 28 days. I don't know anybody in this city that's not, into drugs and alcohol. If anybody could give me their phone number so I have someone to call. And like 25 people come running up to me. And I never was alone for the rest of my whole sobriety. But, it works the other way.
Yeah.
You look for bad, you're going to find bad.
Absolutely.
If you think bad, you're going to attract bad. So I really believe in, the law of attraction and manifesting and all these things. And I survived hell on earth. I have to tell you, federal prison, they sent me to a prison. My first 33 months was in prison. It was not a...
Hey, we exchange emails, and I remember when Al gave me the account to log in and get your email address. Man, that was it was great to connect with you then. And
Steve and I were on email from prison, and I'll never forget that. Believe me, you remember every single person you spoke to, you heard from, and et cetera. Yeah. It was a gift,
But kind of going to your question with the entrepreneurship.
Yeah, you're an entrepreneur now.
I'd say to touch on that. Guys like yourself seeing success, I admire success. And I don't come from a family and lineage of success.
Right.
A very blue collar. Nobody in my family, I think, ever made more than 50 or 60 grand a year growing up.
But you talk about financial success.
Yeah.
I want to just interrupt you here because we talked about your mom before. Mm-hmm. Your dad was hardworking. Your mom was going to the gym when you were a kid. I mean, it's a crazy thing for a woman in those days. And so to me, you had a successful family.
Yeah, absolutely.
You played hockey. You played football. You went to school.
Foundationally,
you lifted
100%.
weights. You were successful. But, I do understand because I am a material pig in my later life. I'm chasing the almighty dollar, since I'm, a teenager really. And I was been pretty good at getting it. And so I want to just clarify that.
Yeah. Yeah,
because you are one hell of a successful dude. Before you had 5 cents,
and I don't want to just make it sound like it's just a financial kind of gain. Especially now having a son, it's thinking. I definitely think more legacy. Like, what am I going to be able to leave or do for my son and my son's son moving forward? That was nothing was ever been passed down in my family. Whether it's a business, whether it's land, whether it's
those calves were passed down, bro.
Genetics, 100%. But to me, I started thinking of that and start thinking of, I always heard, and my parents are great examples of certain things in life. And to me, it's like, I always wanted a little bit more than they had and wanted. And I think my dad could have been a huge success if he followed the entrepreneur spirit in the restaurant realm. He's an amazing, brilliant chef. And in 30, 40 years ago, chefs were kind of looked at like gas station attendants.
Today they're celebrities.
Now they're freaking they got their own cookware. They got their
TV shows.
TV shows. I mean, absolutely incredible. So it would be different today for him. Right. But I really, I wanted more. There was things that I always hear my dad say, I would be young driving in the car with him and he'd say like, man, I always dreamed of having a car like that, and my dream would be like, hey, if I could buy my dad that car one day before he passes.
I get it.
Like it's just being able to do, and it's not about like a selfish financial gain. It's like, how could I create this and be generous for the people around me?
But that's selfish and there's nothing wrong with being selfish.
Yeah. I mean, yes, there's things I want. Yeah. I want nice things. I want a nice house. I want nice cars, have fast cars. Do fun things. I mean, money's money. Yeah, money's a
gives
tool.
You the freedom to live
to live
big, to live a real life. There's nothing wrong.
And then ultimately, like I tell a lot of young guys that want to pursue bodybuilding, whatever it is. I tell them you got to kind of. What kind of life do you want to live? Like, where are you going to find happy and peace? Are you content with being in an apartment, eating TV dinners and working a simple job? If that makes you happy, then you can do that. But if you want to live in a big house, drive nice cars, reverse engineer that. Think about what it's going to take on every day. Every day, what's it going to cost every day? Both money, energy, all the things that are going to have to take into creating that. What are you going to have to do every day to actually have
Just
that?
like, what are you going to do every day if you want to look like Steve Kuclo?
Exactly. It's not done. It's not done in 1 week.
No.
Now, I mean, in today's world, you can make some crazy investment in a Bitcoin or something, and in a couple days hit big. But.
And I've done that. But I want you to know something. It might have taken 15 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah, exactly. That's what a lot of people say.
There's a great word I learned, and I from bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. And I just love the concept, and I use it in my everyday life, sort of in the financial world. I'll never forget, I went to the gym. I was in a wrestling team. We weren't supposed to lift weights, but you had to walk through the weight gym to go to the wrestling practice. And after wrestling practice, I used to do with guys lifting weights. It was a universal machine. This was in the 1973. They didn't believe in weights at the time. Free weights were for sick people in California. And I got into that. I'll never forget the first time I ever got into the machine bench press. And I'm pressing like crazy. And I'm doing, 10 reps, a set of 10. And then put up more weight, 20, a set of 10, a set of 10, a set of 10. Then doing there were mirrors. And I remember looking at myself going, holy fuck. Because, on the wrestling team, we didn't eat.
Yeah.
I had to make weight. Yeah. I would go from like 165 pound wrestle to 140. Wow. It was capped out. You probably used to eat 140 for lunch. And I'll never forget, I was so pumped. I was so excited. I said, I'm doing this every day. And I couldn't take my eyes off myself, right? And I go home. I go to sleep, whatever, at night. I wake up the next morning, and I had a mirror in my room. And nothing happened. All that pump was gone. And I remember just thinking, fuck, is that how? And I remember talking to a guy, this guy, Bob. Bob ended up building the first powerlifting gym on the South Shore of Long Island in Lawrence High School. And then there was a bunch, blew up, but it was the 70s. People thought weightlifting was like dangerous for the body. And he said, listen, I'll never forget, he sat me down. He says, this is a cumulative sport. And I didn't have no idea what he was talking about. Cumulative. Day in, day out, day in, day out, day in. You could do everything you want 1 week. A week later, there's nothing. It's about being consistent. And it's the same thing with podcasting and social media if you want to build up a presence.
It's not 2 episodes that are going to do it. It's not 2 workouts that are going to do it.
They say 98% of all podcasters never do more than 10 podcasts.
Yeah.
98%.
Yeah.
So you're in the 2% if you're podcasting, more than 10 times. And there's a cumulative effect in becoming successful pretty much in anything. Mm-hmm. I've transferred the idea of cumulative. So when I was a stockbroker and they said you got to make 300 calls a day to get 10 people that will accept your literature, but you got to do it every day. One day you make $300, everybody tells you to fuck off, you don't get anybody.
Yeah.
One day you do it and 22 people say they want to hear from you. But there's a cumulative effect, and that science, that idea, that concept is something I'm teaching young men now.
Yeah.
You can't just, think you're going to send me $5,000, have 10 hours with me, and then now you're going to be a multimillionaire. I could 3, 4, 5x your business, and I've done that already. I've done that with almost everybody. But the cumulative effect of that desire, you have to get up for weeks, for months, for years. If you want to grow muscle, if you want to grow portfolio, if you want to grow your net worth. And you know what? Sooner or later, you buy Bitcoin at 300 and it'll be 100,000. You're going to get your Bitcoin story. I have 100 of them like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's great. So tell us about your brand right now, the business ventures you're doing, your current projects. What is Steve Kuclo going through right now?
I touched on it a little bit with getting into I've always been in the health and fitness space.
Correct.
And love it. I love it. That's truly my passion.
And you're living it.
Yeah, and I live it.
It's evident.
And people, like you say, I believe like I'm my own walking brand, like Steve
Correct.
Kuclo. So I want to represent the brand the best I can. People look at me, and if I'm going to represent health, how many times you go to the doctor, you see an overweight doctor tell you, eat better and work out. And you're like, well, maybe you should do that too. Right. But for me, I wanted to, I know that like there's the wave of people are tired of conventional medicine. They're tired of you got a symptom, take a pill. Right. That's been the MO for 50 plus years, and I think people want more natural, and there's a much more better ways of doing things. And we do live in a society that everybody wants quick results. You got a headache, boom, it's gone.
Right.
But when you understand the body and how you can truly make the body healthy from the inside out, like we said.
Correct.
True wellness. Like, what is wellness? I believe that's true wellness. For me, I wanted to. It led me down the path of launching Upgraded Human Wellness, and
I love it. So
initially, I kind of launched Upgraded Human as helping people, kind of in same aspect of what you kind of helping people upgrade their life, get better in all areas, financially, relationally, with their faith, their fitness, all that kind of stuff. But to me, it's always went down and funneled into health and fitness. That's an area I see a lot of people struggle with, especially entrepreneurs, especially a lot of high value, high performing guys. What is the number one thing going? I don't make it to the gym. I don't have time. I eat like shit. And then
drinking, smoking,
the habits, all this stuff, and
not sleeping.
And then you have 10 years of that cumulative effect, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I need to get in shape. Well, that's not going to happen overnight. That's not going to happen in a week. You can't take 10 years of living a terrible lifestyle and expect that to come off in 10 days or 10 weeks. It's going to be a process, but if you commit to that process, you're going to get results. But for me, launching Upgraded Human has been an amazing adventure. I partnered with a friend of mine I met with at a men's group at church, who's a naturopath doctor, and had no idea. We start talking after being in the same group for about a year and a half. What do you do? What do you do? And just one day we're like, we need to team up on this. So we kind of joined forces, launched this.
What's his name? Let's give him a plug.
Timmy Foster, Dr. Timmy Foster.
Dr. Foster.
He's a New Jersey boy. So
a Jersey boy.
He's a Jersey boy. Yeah. So he moved to Texas after COVID, and and really just when you sync with somebody and you're like, man, we could really on the same page with things. So
make some things happen.
Yeah, brilliant man, and then it actually in the process of expanding into the regenerative side, a good friend of mine, Dr. Johnny East in Dallas, regenerative medicine doctor and pain doctor, we're going to launch an Upgraded Human regenerative medicine side where we're going to be able to offer stem cells and a lot of the biologics, and now that it's becoming with RFK coming in office, and now they're not being this suppressed, like the true therapies that help people get healthy are going to be available.
Will you show me a pharmaceutical company? I'll show you a company that's worth $100 billion.
Yeah.
That's the real mafia today, just so you know.
Oh, 100%.
And that's 100%. Why they've been feeding us like shit.
You mentioned peptides earlier. Peptides are something that naturally occurs in the human body.
Correct.
And they are amino acid chains, and usually a lot of them are broke off the growth hormone chain, which is 191 amino acids, and they take something like, this helps with repairing tissue.
Correct.
Or this helps with sleep, or this helps with losing body fat, etc. And you give it a little bit more concentrated dose, and then you get accelerated results, better results with it. And it's a very natural thing. It's not a steroid. It's not going to affect your hormonal pathways and all that stuff.
I go for that too, though.
Exactly.
I'm just going to say.
But we're talking, and then there's all of a sudden all this legislation against it, or saying, those are illegal, that you can't have that. And then when you find out, really, if the pharmaceutical companies end up having their hand in this or wanting to go ahead and brand it,
they will. They'll steal it,
and they take a $50 peptide, and now they're going to charge $500 for
Correct.
it. And then you're like,
only in America, by the way. In France, it'll be $55.
Exactly.
Right? I understand. It's crazy.
But kind of getting back to the venture of trying to truly help people get healthy, launching Upgraded Human Wellness, we do a lot of deep dive into personalization of health care. Meaning we get to help getting to the root cause of things. If somebody comes to us to say, I have a lot of acne, or I can't sleep, I have anxiety, whatever it is, there's a reason why you have this. It's not like, you can't focus. Or somebody says, I have a thyroid issue. My doctor tested my thyroid. I have to take this medication. I was at one point taking a thyroid medication. I was like, I don't want to take this the rest of my life.
Right.
After dieting for several years, my thyroid is a little sluggish. So my doctor's like, here, take this thyroid medication.
Correct.
And I was like, how is this healthy if I depend on a medication the rest of my life?
Right.
So I said, this is where I really kind of went through the process with Timmy, and got myself right. And meaning I did blood work. We looked at everything. I got myself optimized in any deficiency I had, and usually understanding like how the thyroid works, or et cetera. I gave my body what it needs. And then once you give your body what it needs, all of a sudden it will heal itself. It'll make itself healthy.
It's a self-healing mechanism.
It's incredible. The way our bodies were designed and engineered. It's incredible. Yeah.
Self-healing mechanism. He gave us everything we need.
So when you understand that, and and getting to the root cause of why these issues occur. Like most of childhood behavioral issues that they, are going to say ADD, or you're going to have to get them on all this medication, or they're
big money.
Oh, absolutely. And some of it is caused, by excess shot schedules and all this stuff. I mean, that's a whole other rabbit hole to go down. But you're talking about true, what we do is we test for things. You test for heavy metals. You do a heavy metal test. You realize, most of these kids and most people are kind of loaded up with heavy metals. And you go ahead and do a heavy metal detox. And all of a sudden, I got clear thinking. They're not erratically behaving. They're not having all these issues.
It's crazy.
You get gut, the way all these chemicals and processed foods that we eat, the way it destroys our gut health. Most of the serotonin in the body is created in the gut. Like I say, almost 90% is created in the gut, not your brain. It's the feel-good hormone.
Correct.
Is created in the gut. If you have terrible gut health, of course you're going to be depressed. So how about you get your gut health right, and then all of a sudden you're not going to have the depression. You're going to.
My gut health is terrible, and I'm never depressed.
Well, you're just a freak.
I'm just a freak. Yeah, I love that, but so it's.
So it's more we get to root
upgraded
human wellness, but
and I believe the God factor. I mean, I might get impaled for this, but God carried me through.
Absolutely.
That people say to me, "Do you believe that you're Ross Mandell? You went to prison for nothing. Do you believe in God?" And I said, "Do I believe in God? No, I don't believe in God. I know God. We have a relationship.
Yeah.
I don't have to believe in him.
Yeah.
I know him personally. He's in my life." And people are like, this bro lost his mind.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean,
and I love that you're wearing that shirt today.
God doesn't cause bad things to happen to us. God gives us free will. There's things we do and put ourselves in situations that He may allow that to go through because there's lessons to be learned through that.
And there's things we'll never know.
But if you look for those lessons, there's growth that will come of that. You look at the stories of the Bible. Most of those stories in the Bible are stories.
Tough stories.
Look at Job, lost everything. You look at Paul, thrown in jail. A
lot of these guys have been in jail, so I'm probably a prophet.
And and he's writing letters, and they're all stories in the Bible, like
Joseph.
And they're stories of having gratitude. You talk about mindset. Correct. You're talking about being grateful for these things. Talking about love. Talking about grace. I mean, these are main words that you could truly carry through life, and it'll get you through anything. It's the Bible's just a book of wisdom. That's
wisdom. Andrew Tate. The Tate brothers.
Absolutely.
So, a lot of people, they're in big disfavor with a lot of people.
Of course. It speaks truth. Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth.
Correct. Andrew Tate said, I saw a piece the other day, I admire Andrew and Tristan Tate. They're on my list, of guys I would like to meet and hang out with. But he says, when some shit happens in your life, when something gets fucked up, goes upside down, tips up, painful, you should turn around and thank God. Because now He's giving you a challenge, a chance to grow.
Absolutely.
To overcome. Because otherwise you just sail into your life. Whatever your life is, good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. These painful, like yesterday, I had a series of things go on. Any one of them after what I've been through, bro, everything's easy. No, but I mean, after what I've been through, listen, when you're in the hole in a federal prison, locked in a room for 2 weeks, getting 1 5-minute shower in 2 weeks, getting the world's worst food with live bugs in it served to you. You don't know if you're going to live or die, no medicine. Everything else is don't tell me you're having a tough time.
Yeah.
After what I've been through, you can forget it.
You redefine that.
But all of a sudden, a bunch of things happened yesterday, all at once, within an hour. I get 3 different phone calls, and then Steve Kuclo texts me and says, "Can we rearrange Saturday's podcast for Friday?" And I'm like, I'm only afraid of one man in business, and his name is John. And I said, I'm not calling this fucking guy 9:30 at night to tell him to change the schedule after I got him to come in on a Saturday. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Stephanie goes, "I'll call John." I said, "All right." She's tough. She's a tough Italian. He's a tough Italian. But I mean, a series of things happened. And I just want you to know, as a result of all those things, each one of those things was disruptive to me. That's a word that's now in my life. Things get disruptive. I have a plan, and then something goes wrong. But as a result of each one of these little things, man, a positive came out of it. I got to see you today a day early. We don't have Saturday. He's going to have a weekend off.
There you go.
I filled up my Saturday with some other things, and the other things also have worked out. And, you turn a disruptive event in your life into a positive.
Absolutely. And what you really like when I hear you say that, it just talks about like being a little more present in the day.
You have to
and
be
not
present.
worrying about like necessarily tomorrow. Because
there is no tomorrow.
Tomorrow's not guaranteed, but when people want to understand maybe the root of where anxiety is coming from and fear, you're worrying about things in the future. You're worrying about things that most likely won't happen. And we go through a lot of tough things, and there's periods of financial struggles and relational things, and it's hard. I get it. I'm not saying you're never going to go through stuff, and it's never going to be
shit happens.
Never going to have anxiety and be stressed about things. But and the depression part, you hear a lot of people like. You're worrying about what happened in the past that's already been done.
Correct. People get depressed over the past. They always look back.
Exactly. When you look back, that's where depression usually
woulda,
comes
coulda,
from.
shoulda.
So,
forget it.
Forget it. Move on. Be more present in the day.
Correct. Misconceptions about the fitness industry.
Misconceptions.
Yes. Anything you'd like to address?
Absolutely. I mean, there's misconceptions. It's probably one of the most healthy and unhealthy industries.
Yes, it is. That's very honest coming from you.
It really is.
That's
like
great.
In most, I always said bodybuilding. Like you get on stage and you look like the epitome of health. You just look like a statue that was carved out of granite.
Godlike. Look at Michelangelo.
But at the same time,
Apollo.
It's probably the most. Maybe a portion of that prep is fairly healthy, and then the last half definitely is probably the most unhealthy part because you're taking your body to such extremes.
Guys backstage are hooked up to IVs.
There's been a lot of. I was
Can't
at a
even
show
walk,
last weekend. Lady passed out. Her trainer had given her a bunch of Lasix, and it's like these trainers and coaches. There's a lot of bad out there. A lot of bad information. A lot of bad coaches. Because these people just don't know, or they were taught bad from somebody else.
A lot of trial and error. And let's try this.
Yeah, so I mean that goes
diabetes medicine, thyroid
terrible.
medicine.
It's there's just I don't know how more trainers, coaches, etc. don't get sued for malpractice or whatever.
I've had a few terrible ones.
They really hurt people, and I hear things that these coaches are putting these young girls, recommending them, putting them on testosterone and all this.
Right.
You're a 22-year-old girl that wants to compete in bikini, and your trainer is telling you that you need to get on testosterone and a list of other things.
And he's going to sell
exactly.
It to you.
So is he a drug dealer or a coach or a trainer, whatever it is? So there's a lot of bad out there, and I encourage people to do your homework,
education,
vet these people. Talk with maybe previous clients or current clients, but be smart about it. A lot of times people think a little bit too temporary in the fitness industry, or they think I just want to get on stage and but right. Okay, don't maybe take this 16-week period, which can really affect the next 16 years of your life.
Maybe the rest of your life.
Maybe the rest of your life. Absolutely. So that's probably one of the biggest things I could say.
I'm very glad you acknowledge that, because I just want to say. And I speak to this in my own availability. For the first time in the history of the world, you out there have the ability to connect with people heretofore now would have been impossible.
Yeah.
You can reach out to this guy, Steve Kuclo, who can take you on, advise you. You can meet with him on a Zoom, a Skype, or even arrange in person. For the first time in history, you have access to guys like myself.
Yeah.
If you have real financial questions, you want it about financial, you want it about fraud, you want it about guys telling you do this, buy this, go buy Dogecoin, let's go selling options on futures or some tertiary coin. The scams that are going on. I'm like shocked.
There's a lot.
And I was in prison and I heard a lot of them. What they're doing. Getting you to reveal what your wallet looks like in there. You can have all the Bitcoin you want in the world for zero when it's 100,000, but if they steal your wallet, you have nothing. And, for the first time, you have a chance to speak to guys that are knowledgeable, that been there, done that understand health, wellness,
You know, and I think one thing too that people sometimes overlook or is not given enough credit is experience, true experience,
real experience. Correct.
Not necessarily just carrying a title or somebody saying that.
Or just reading a book.
Here's my degree, or
Correct.
here's my it says MD after a name. Okay, just because you may have read,
nothing.
doesn't mean anything to me. Like, you have some real clinical experience. You have some real backing of
on stage experience,
exactly, or been in the trenches and understand what it takes to get there.
Correct.
That is far more valuable than just, like you said, reading a book.
It's
just talking slick where you can kind of sound like
talking people. But I love the fact that when I was a kid, we didn't have Google, we didn't have cell phones. I was in a blind. You had to read books, but you really had to go talk to guys.
Yeah.
I would see a guy like you, and I'd say, bro, do me a favor. What am I doing wrong? I can't grow biceps. Like, my arms don't grow. Triceps, no problem. Or my legs, what do I do? What's the right thing to do? Good mornings for my back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like I was helpless. I used to ask the biggest guy around that I could find, the best developed guy. I didn't know he was really born that way. And here I am trying to change my body, and I tried a million different things, and that's why today I was the rheumatologist, and I was getting an MRI, and I was the pain lady yesterday, all these different things. Today we have access to you. Tell everybody, how do they reach you?
Especially, I'm going
to ask you again later. But
with social media, I love when people reach out directly to me.
Steve Kuclo, Kuclo.
That's it. People DM me all the time asking me questions. Instagram, Facebook. I'm on TikTok.
Always under your name, Steve Kuclo?
Always under my name. Everything is directly me,
Right.
And then, obviously, through my website, Upgraded Human.
Say it again for
Upgraded Human.
Upgraded Human.
Yeah, that's one.
.com?
Yep. You can actually, fill out a form, tell us what's going on. You can actually schedule a call with me.
Let's do this, guys.
Really take a deep dive into your health and I think especially males. Women. We actually work with a lot of women.
I believe that.
Because women are very open to, hey, I got this going on, I want to fix it.
Correct.
Guys are like, I got, my arm's ready to fall off, but I'm fine. A little bit of ego plays in that.
A lot of ego.
Or they won't really address symptoms. And I get it, because as a guy, you're like, I'm fine. I don't need any help, and then eventually you're like, oh, I'm really banged up. You got, the Ross where, 3 things happen and boom, or like, all these things hit at once. And like I kind of said earlier, you can't rob Peter to pay Paul for so long, because eventually, the guys that are telling you wake up at 3 a.m. and get 3 workouts in before 6 and all this shit,
I've been there with that.
That doesn't work. And I promise you, they're not doing that, and that if you do that, eventually you're going to hurt yourself in the long run. Right. We're not built to do that.
No.
They could say, this guy's a pussy, whatever. I mean, we can have a talk in person if you want to say that, which you won't say that.
20 sets of squats to the floor. Like craziness.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Again, there's time and place for certain things, but you have to be. Everything on social media is not real life when it comes to. Again, even like in the gym, I call them Instagram bodybuilders. These guys are showing a top set of a workout. Right. They fluff off the whole workout. They're on their phone doing. They're not working out hard. And let's film this one set. Make it look like the whole workout's been like.
I've done that. and I just want to say, but it is. You have real life. You have real fraud life. Yeah. You have people that are ignorant, that are showing off and bragging and claiming this and that. Again, I want to say it, for the first time in human history, everybody, for no money, has access. I answer DMs. He answers DMs. Yeah. I have a website. You fill out a form. We will be in touch with you within 24 hours.
That's amazing.
Stevie has the same thing. And not just us. There are guys like us that are experts in various fields that you have access to. You don't have to listen to the dude at the back of the gym that's trying to sell you some vial of some sort of steroid.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. You don't have to go on TikTok.
Yeah.
Or go on some Discord channel to find out, should you be buying or selling options on futures on some sort of commodity that you know nothing about.
Right.
I mean, you can really do a little research today, legit research. Okay? Legit. When I wanted to research you, even though I do know you personally, I went online and had this all day, a bunch of people essentially responded.
Awesome.
And this is really intelligent stuff, and generally speaking.
Yeah.
I can't get that God sign off my because that to me shows your depth.
And you can't be afraid to be a little like, you know, I hate to say to use proud, but like to stand in firm in your belief. Or,
well, when you're 6 feet, 265, you can bench press 500 pounds. Yeah. You could show up. No one's going to call you pussy.
That's it.
No one's going to say you're a fag. You know, they're going to be like,
I mean,
okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But to me, it shows your depth.
Yeah.
It shows your depth because you're not just a guy. You're not just a big guy. You're a messenger of the Most High. The Most High God, and I get it, and I love it, and I'm not, you know, I'm not a shy type, and I'll scream God from the rafters, but you know, for a while it was a little unpopular. I hate to say it, but I don't know what the fuck the left is talking about with everything.
Yeah,
I didn't understand some of the craziness. God,
you turn your back on God. Yeah,
you know, in I think the Declaration of Independence, God is mentioned like 30 times. He's on our dollar bills, on our currency. And
you know, it was crazy in a recent, like, you know, growing up, my grandfather collected coins, and he kind of got me in that little hobby, you know, and I loved it. And in the recent, they flipped Washington's head to turn away from "In God We Trust." That was the new one that they did. You know,
crazy.
There was only one coin prior to that had that. Now they added that. And,
how crazy?
Yeah,
I mean, it's just the nuttiest thing in like. When I left prison, they sat me down. I had to fill out a form, like. So I'm sitting there with an officer, a CO, you know, name, what's your number, you know, what was your sentence, what's your CR number. All right, I got to ask you some questions. So you have a place to live, yes, what's your address? Who'll be living at the address with you? Do they have a criminal record? Is there a gun in the house? No. I said, okay. What's your gender? Guy's staring at me. Big, you know, big guy. CO, an officer. I'm like, excuse me? He's, what's my gender? I said, you being serious? He says, Mr. Mandell, look, this is crazy. But I have to ask this question, and we have to be serious. They're giving us training classes in this. I said, I don't understand. I said, do I look girly to you? And he says, he starts making a face like. And I say, well, what are my choices? And he turns the paper around. There's like 9 choices. And then there's other. So there's male, there's female, there's biological male, biological female, there's, you know, transgender, there's non-binary. I said, well, you know, what's non-binary? I said, what the fuck? And he says, sir, I know it's fucking crazy, but we have to do this. This is the government.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what happened? Like, I went to prison and the whole world went fucking crazy.
Yeah, it did pretty quick.
It went fucking upside down crazy. Yeah. You got guys with penises that wear dresses that use the girls' room. I have daughters, bro.
Yeah, right.
I don't want there to be a penis in the girls' room. Mm-mm. I mean, it's just so crazy. Tell us one thing about you that people don't know.
I gave you a little I collect coins. And
that's a little strange, I got to say.
That was one that, you know, kind of a little hobby growing up. That was a hobby growing up that I, you know.
Shocking.
And that's kind of cool. I'll be able to pass that little collection on to my son.
What's his name?
He's another Steve, but his middle name is Gabriel, and we call him Gabriel. So he's actually I'm the fourth generation. He'd be the fourth generation Steven. So my grandfather, my dad, I'm a Steve, and then he'll be a Steven as
Steve Kuclo.
He'll be.
There's 4 generations. You're not the third. You're not the second.
No, we have different middle names.
So that's how it goes.
That's how we.
But is he Stevie Jr.?
He's he's technically the fourth Steve,
right?
But different middle names. But I know that's
the same last name.
Same last name, yeah.
So it doesn't go like Steve Kuclo the fourth.
No, but
just because you have to have the same full name.
It's got to be the same full name.
I didn't know that.
At least that's what I understand.
Gabriel's his middle name.
Gabriel, yeah. My wife loves that name. And
the angel Gabriel. What?
He's a warrior.
Just, you know, I just got a text from my friend. We call him G. Yeah. His name is Gabriel.
It's a strong name. My son's very sweet, but you could tell he's very strong-willed. But I speak that over him every day. And like you talk about, like the power of words, the power of
words.
And it's, and the Bible says, it talks about out of the abundance of our heart, our mouth speaks, and if, you speak in negativity and all these negative and bad, it's your heart. You got to go internal on that. But to me, I speak life over my son. And I believe, like, if you walk around speaking life, you're gonna, speaking positive things.
Correct.
You're gonna have a more positive life. No, you're gonna attract more positive
Correct.
things. And every day I speak over him that he's a king, that he's a warrior, that he's a champion. That I say he's got the favor of Abraham, that he's got the wisdom of Solomon. That I tell him that he's got the love of Jesus in his heart.
I love it.
Every day, every night before I put him to bed, I speak that over.
You empower him
every night. And those words, he may not truly, they're seeds. Because you got to plant. Our minds are a garden, and
correct.
The seeds that we put in there are then the seeds that we water is what will flower. And if you're putting in bad things, like that's why, like if you're looking at, whether it's porn or the news all the time, that's bad seeds that get put in the brain.
You know what they say? We have a hard drive, garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah,
it's the same thing, whatever the programming is. Yeah. I'll say one thing on this note. So my mom, who just passed away at 89 years old this past July, we had a very, very tough relationship. Not a nice lady, very tough lady. And, she lost her husband. I was 16, my brother was 13. I left home, I freaked out, series of marriages, whatever, a lot of health things. And most people that know me realize I had a very tough relationship with my mother. She was a tough lady, not a good relationship. But there's something she did for me that I share with people because, especially now that she's gone to the next place, I love to think about positive things. That's who I am. Mm-hmm. Ever since I'm a little boy, she said, Rossi, there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can't be. You could be the president of the United States. Right. I could be the president, I used to say. I was a little kid. And she used to drive me around. We lived in a town, nice town. It was middle class, upper middle class, but we lived in an area called the Five Towns, which had like $1 million homes 40 years ago, and wealthy people and famous people, and it was like mixed that way. We were just like, living the American dream. Everything was mortgaged, borrowed, and leased.
Sure.
And I didn't know it. I'm a kid. But she ingrained into me that there's nothing I can't do in this world. And, I carried that, and I didn't realize that not every parent does that. I met Stephanie, you're my wife, stunning, gorgeous, sweet, kind, and extremely capable. Yeah. Smart girl. But her life, her father said, what are you going to school for? I want you to get a job in the deli. Yeah. You'll find a husband and you'll get married. Like they basically said, you can't do anything.
Right. It's a poverty mentality versus a prosperity mentality.
And stop dreaming and stop, having all these wishes and nonsense. Stop it. Right. And she said, no, I'm getting out of the Bronx. And she took 3 trains and 3 subways and 2 buses to get a job in Wall Street, where she came to meet me. And before that, she went to school, the Fashion Institute of Technology again. 3 subways, a bus or 2, walking. And that's no joke when you're a young girl and doing this by yourself. But her father beat it down. And her mother was like, forget it, you'd be a secretary, And I think of the difference. So since I've met her, I always let her know that she could do anything. Yeah. And whenever she does have success, she's so shocked. She's like a little kid. She's so excited, you know. Yeah. And what you're doing with your son is a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
It's so important.
It is.
Because whatever you put in his little brain, that's what he's going to take. Because, as he gets older, he's going to run to little troubled guys, and they're going to say, let's rob a bank, or let's grab this candy bar and run. Guys are crazy. You listen to your buddy, Yep. Your dad should be your buddy, because your dad's the only man that really cares about you. Right. And your dad's the only guy that wants to see you do better than him. Yeah. In the whole world.
That's true.
Right. I say that, and I say that to my daughters. I said, there is no woman in this world that wants you to be greater than them except your mother. Yeah. Like that. I mean, it's so important. What's the weirdest thing that someone has ever said to you about your size? I mean, there's got to be a lot of shit. Boy.
Oh, bodybuilding brings out all the weirdos.
Yes.
I mean, back in the day, it didn't happen as much as you kind of come up the ranks and you get a little more famous, or I guess the pro level, et cetera. Now it still exists, but like in the amateur ranks, like there's all the weirdos come out because they kind of look at their little naive people, and they start asking for weird pictures. Can I buy your posing trunks, your workout underwear? I mean, you get all the weird requests.
Wow.
I never sold any of it, but I got all the requests.
How much did that jock strap go for? Come on.
My buddies always say, "Hey, I'm going to sell your posing trunks for $1,000 or something," like jokingly. But
Let's print up like 1,000 pairs. And
yeah, exactly.
That's the crazy. That's great, bro. That's great. If you had to survive on a deserted island, but you could only bring one piece of gym equipment, one piece, what would it be?
I love like the cable stations, the ones that you could adjust, the adjustable cable stations, because I believe you could almost do everything on those, and I think you see there's even some at-home gym stuff that you can bolt to the wall, and they got the resistance cables, and you could adjust them and everything. You could get almost a full body workout on that. So that if I had one, and I'm like, well, I got to get everything in, that'll pretty much do it.
Not a squat rack, not a.
Yeah, I may have said squat rack maybe 10 years ago, but not so much. I still put some weight on, and do squats or a squat machine, et cetera, but not quite like I used to. But you know what I'm.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I want you to stay healthy. You got to stay healthy.
Exactly.
When you get old, you got another 20 years, and then I didn't have a fucking problem until I was 55.
This is where stuff like regenerative medicine's really coming in, like doing, stem cell, letting your body giving it what it needs to regenerate, because our bodies can if you give it what it needs. They have the umbilical stem cells that are available now, and
I know, but it was illegal in the United States. I don't know if it's changed. Now they're doing it.
Yeah, now
I know guys that go to Mexico and say one shot in your shoulder and you're fine.
Yeah, now it's available
instead of just fucking. They want to give you a shoulder replacement.
Yeah, exactly.
Forget it.
Exactly, and we're not meant to be cut on. I truly don't believe
agree with
we're
that.
not meant to be cut on. I mean, there's scenarios and situations you got something broke and torn, like. Yeah, that may be an instance, but for the most part, I don't believe we were meant to be cut on, and our bodies are made to regenerate. I mean, that's why. I mean, it takes almost every year about every piece of your DNA or every part of your body gets recycled, and
they say that.
It gets
regrows.
Yeah.
I used to smoke a lot, and then I stopped smoking. I couldn't breathe, couldn't walk up a flight of steps, 2 packs a day for years. I go to this top doctor in Columbia University. She's the top. And she said, if you can stop smoking now, in 12 months, you'll have clean lungs. Because she took, with that x-rays and my lungs were terrible.
Sure.
She says, and 1 year later, I go back, and it's pink tissue.
Wow.
Because it all regenerates. It takes 12 full months.
Yep.
The lungs are like the slowest.
Yeah.
But it took 12 months. All right. I want you to get honest right now.
Yeah.
You be honest?
We've been honest the whole time. We're not holding
How
back.
many mirrors is too many mirrors? Great question.
I know guys that really love themselves, and I don't mind every once in a while you're walking by, you're in the gym, man, you're going to check yourself out a little bit. Like
I'm a big mirror guy.
You're a big mirror guy,
and I hide from them right now, and I'm ashamed because I can't.
They're true. I mean, what you see in the mirror is not going to lie, and I tell that with a lot of my clients. I say, they're like, well, I need to watch the scale. I said, no. I said the scale might lie to you. I said, let's look at the mirror and look at how you're feeling, and that's going to be our true judge.
I love it.
If you loving the way you're looking, feeling, I said, then we're on the right path. The scale may not move. You may be dropping body fat and adding muscle, and it's all of a sudden that number's not changing. You're like, why is my number not changing?
Right.
You get fixed on a number. Let's go by that mirror. That mirror is going to tell a whole lot more truth.
You're bench pressing 405, but you got a fat belly.
Yeah.
This trainer once said to me, and he was very smart. He's Mr. California, and he says to me, from now on, I want you to walk around your apartment in just your underwear. I want you to have all these mirrors. And he says, until you're happy with the way you look. Yeah. Because I couldn't. I
be happy looking.
I never looked at my stomach. I looked at my legs when I was squatting. I looked at my shoulders, Yeah. But the most impressive thing about your physique that I saw today, Stevie took his shirt off. I made him pose for us. Your stomach is flat like a washboard.
Thank you.
It's like you haven't had a meal in 10 years. But you don't look like you're starving, do you?
No. I feed my body what it needs and the right food. I understand, like, I've done genetic testing on myself. I do food sensitivity testing on myself. So I know the foods my body's responding to. I know how to try to pull the inflammation out of my body so it doesn't, carry excess puffiness and water and all the stuff that comes with that.
I don't suspect that you had any double smoked bacon with cheddar cheese and egg on a croissant from Starbucks. I had 2 of them today. I'm embarrassed to say.
And it's funny that almost that exact food item you just mentioned is what I tell most people to go eat before they do a food sensitivity test, because most of that, like the gluten that's in most people have sensitivity to gluten. Right. Most time, egg whites, not egg yolk, but egg white is a highly, highly sensitive food for people.
Really?
The protein, because it's the proteins that leak through, that end up in the bloodstream, and your body looks at like what's going on here, and then you have an immune response to it, and it's usually delayed.
Interesting.
So that's a very common one. Cheese, dairy is.
How do you feel about double smoked bacon?
I love bacon. Bacon's an amazing
Delicious.
food, but it does carry a lot lot of preservatives and stuff
nitrates,
like that.
Nitrates, fat.
When you look at
it, smell good and taste good.
Oh, it does. That's
that smell when you put it on in your house, a bigger bacon. There's nothing quite like that.
Nothing quite like that. Yeah.
But you haven't had bacon in a minute, right?
It's been a while since I had some bacon. Now I love bacon. I
got
do.
it. I see.
Do. But it's been a while. Yeah. Because it's crazy. The more you dial in your body,
right,
the more
you don't crave it, really.
it's when you do have something that you may love or that you're like, hey, this tastes really good, and then you have this. It's kind of like drinking alcohol. You haven't drank in a while. You drink it, and the next day you're like, why the hell did I drink? You're like, what? That was a terrible idea. That. Same thing applies with food. Like when you eat very clean and you eat something that's not so clean, your body will let you know the next day, like, that wasn't a good idea, and I don't want to do that again. If you do it again, you're going to feel like this. So it's going to be that's on you.
When I went off sugar for a minute, I went off sugar for a long minute, and then I just had something with sugar. It was like, ugh.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah,
but it's a drug, sugar.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a funny story about sugar. Like, so my son, we don't feed him any sugar. He don't get any processed stuff. I give him a whole food. I mean, this kid eats better than 100% of the people in the world, and I mean, he's walking proof. He's 13 months today, and we've been sick in the house. He's never been sick. He hasn't had one shot. This kid is pure blood. But. With that, had his 1-year-old birthday. My wife got him. It's the first time we'll give him his own little cake for his birthday.
Right.
They gave him a little smash cake and all that. And he looked at it like, "What's this?" And then my wife's like, kind of prompting him to put his hand in and whatnot. And then he did a little bit, and then she's like, "All right, we'll feed him some." Right. And you would have thought you fed him some poison. He was like, oh, and he started crying. He's like, I don't want this. But our joke with him is steak over cake, because this kid, from like 6 months when he first can kind of start really chewing on stuff, I start giving him a little bit of steak, and he loved it. Yeah. But I give him a very whole food organic diet, and you just see how healthy he is.
I love that, bro.
Yeah.
I love that.
Does it take more work? Yes. And anything's going to take more work in life, whether it's relationship or your health. But you know what? It's going to pay off in the end. Like knowing that, if you're a lazy parent and you're feeding your kid garbage food, like he's going to be sick all the time. He's going to have behavioral issues. He's going to have, health issues.
There's a very good chance all those things.
A very good chance it's going to happen. And, it's going to take some effort from the parents. Don't quit being a lazy ass and start taking care of your family.
You hear that, folks? Quit being a lazy ass. I mean, that's really, you're just saying it like it is.
Yeah, it is.
You're not pulling any punches.
No.
I get it, and that's beautiful.
Because I see, I work with a lot of people. I work with a lot of families. I work with a lot of parents, and a lot of them understand that they don't want that. Or, one parent was lazy, one wasn't, and the parent that wasn't kind of submitted to the lazy parent and just went with,
correct.
Okay, she wanted to do this, and okay, I'll just,
It doesn't really matter. Everybody's doing it. It's like
that's not the case.
Attitudes.
Yeah, it is.
Sick attitudes. It's what it is. What's your next meal today? Did you bring food with you? Or
no, I'm gonna.
Eat something.
I'm gonna eat something. Not terrible, but I know in Florida, so I know there's a lot of great fish here. So I like eating fish out. So I'll probably, if I'm out and traveling, sometimes I'll have a dinner out and that kind of stuff. So I'll try to find a nice fish place and have.
Now you're going to Dan's birthday party, right?
Yeah,
Dan Bongino.
Dan Bongino's
Is he going to be the
50th.
next head of the Secret Service?
I asked him that question, and he said that's a lot to consider.
Right.
You know,
right,
you got to
right.
consider like what he's doing. I mean, he's got
a brilliant business.
His
killing
podcast, his radio show. I mean, the guy is killing it. But I mean, that'd be a big shift for him. But I know he's a true patriot, and he did that job before, so he would be a great fit for it.
How
so.
fucked up is that Secret Service right now?
The whole government,
Bro.
You know, people. You know, people think deep state and all that kind of stuff, and it goes way deeper than.
It's not even deep anymore.
It's not.
open.
I mean, it's like
they're not hiding anymore. They shot Trump in the ear. They shot him.
The
Secret Service said he was 5 feet away, and he pulled the trigger 5 times, and he missed.
Yeah.
Sure he did. Sure he did. This guy Luigi Mangione shot this CEO Brian Thompson of U.S. Healthcare. In 5 days, you know every single thing about this kid. The guy that shot Trump, you can't even tell me his name.
Yeah,
they're can't even tell me his name.
They're just scapegoats.
You know nothing about him.
There's a lot of that,
6th,
you know, and as much
January
as
6th, what a scam!
It was a scam, and you know we're gonna be called crazy.
I was
for
in
that.
prison with those guys.
Yeah,
I was in the federal detention in Miami. There's a bunch of them in there. This was.
I had a guy.
Insurrectionists.
I had a
Bro,
guy.
These are the stupidest kids you ever saw in your life. They couldn't rob a 7-Eleven. They just went to root for Trump, and they got herded into this thing they don't even buy.
They didn't even do anything. They
didn't do
destroy
anything.
it. They didn't
They were
burn
in
it
jail.
down. I had a guy came up to me. I was at a show last weekend, and he came up to me and he's like, "Man, I just a huge fan of yours. Wanted to shake your hand." He goes, "I love your political views." And then he came up to me and he said, "Man, I just got out of jail. I spent 2.5 years in prison."
Yeah.
He goes, you know, during COVID, a group of us would go to different businesses with guns and kind of protect the business owners and prevent the cops from shutting them down. And we wanted these people to, you know,
Right.
and he goes, I kind of had some skeletons in my closet. I needed, you know, that really got me in trouble, but it wasn't that. Right. But he said, I was in prison with some guys that were, you know, at January 6th.
Insurrectionists.
And he goes, and he was telling me between 20 and 25 years in prison for this. And he goes, there was another guy in the same prison he was at. He said he got 18 months for protest rioting in Milwaukee, burning a cop car. They gave him 18 months. Yet these people that just were there,
so sick.
It's crazy.
You don't even know how sick.
It's crazy.
These kids, you know, I used to go, watch out, the revolutionary guys here. You know, they're leading a revolution.
Yeah.
These were like the most hapless kids.
They are.
They just went to Washington, and they ended up getting hurt into this whole thing.
Yeah.
What a scam. And now all of a sudden they find out there's all these undercovers and all that stuff.
You know, and for the longest time, everybody's, you know, called Alex Jones a whack job and all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's all coming out.
That guy's about 95% right on most of his stuff, so.
All right, we got a bunch of stuff here.
Yeah.
What's the one workout you secretly hate but pretend to love?
I always went in phases. There was times I loved legs and times I was like dreaded legs. And then there was times where I loved training like chest and then I hated training chest or like arms. Arms was one that you think, but my arms would get so pumped and they would hurt. And I'm like, this sucks. You know, but
I understand.
So it would come in phases, that one.
Because you're a real bodybuilder.
Yeah.
That's why.
Oh, yeah.
You know, legs for me was so tough that when I decided to really become an athlete and train, every Monday, legs. I wouldn't do another part of my body until I got the legs out of the way.
That's it.
And I used to post it on my computer. They used to make fun of me on Wall Street. I had legs, big legs, a thing I cut out from like muscle development or muscle and fitness.
I have guys that I train that have a hard time sleeping the night before. No, we're going to train legs.
Legs is hard.
They're like, oh man, but I couldn't sleep. I got.
Now this is a funny question.
Yeah.
It says steroids hyphen.
Yeah.
Let's address the elephant in the room. Thoughts. Now, I'm all for steroids, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think in anything within moderation is
that's managed.
That's managed.
It's not back in the gym anymore. This is real stuff, science.
Nobody has truly overdosed from steroids. That's just
correct.
That's like the elephant in the room. That's there's no overdosing of steroid. You could take an ungodly amount of steroids.
And you're not going to go crazy and start shooting
It's almost like
people.
marijuana. Like it's damn near impossible to like overdose. Now, what you do have is secondary side effect that does creep up on guys. Like if you're not managing blood pressure, if you're not managing your hematocrit in your body, you're gonna have some issues, which will lead to some kidney issues, and you got heart issues. So there's secondary, and then and then today's day and age, which a lot of issues occurred with, steroids will change the chemistry of your DNA. It changes like a lot of what goes on inside your body.
Right.
when people start getting the COVID vaccine, especially a lot in the bodybuilding industry, mixed with a lot of the chemistry from steroids, that was a cocktail for disaster.
Really?
So if you look at since probably 2021, the death rate skyrocketed in the health and wellness or health and fitness space, the competitive space. A lot of guys
because of the combination
got sick, had heart attacks, or died because what I believe. This isn't tested, studied. A study says
this is your personal theory.
This is my personal theory based on just understanding the human body and the chemistry.
You're in that business now, so you really know.
And I believe that was, and I've made a few posts about warning guys, like, hey, if you've done that, like, don't continue that same path of steroid use if you've gotten that shot because of the change in your DNA and the structure of everything in there, because they're talking about the clotting issues, all that kind of stuff that compound that with extra thick blood and all that kind of stuff. Like that. It's a recipe for disaster.
I get that now that you just said it like that. I understand.
Yeah. Yep.
What's the most overhyped supplement that everybody's wasting money on?
Probably overhyped supplement is I'll say it like this. If you do not buy your supplements from the same place you buy your toilet paper or a deodorant from.
I get that.
Okay. So, but typically your like generic multivitamins are probably the biggest waste. Because they're very low quality vitamins and it's barely enough to move the needle for anything.
And it goes through your digestive tract. There's nothing left.
Yeah. So there's like what I do with a lot of like my clients is we use a myriad of different supplement brands that are nutraceutical brands that are specific to their needs because everybody's has different deficiencies. Like there's foundational things I walk everybody through.
You do the testing for that? You do the deficiency testing?
Absolutely. But 99% of people are, especially during the winter months, are deficient in vitamin D. So vitamin D a good quality vitamin D supplement with like a K of additional vitamin K with it to enhance the absorption. That's something everybody should and does need to take. Especially again, if you're winter months, if you're up in the northern climate's not getting in the sun regularly, you're gonna, and that's why people usually get more sick during the winters because vitamin D drops, and all of a sudden their immunity drops.
Yes.
So that's like a foundational that
Do you feel like injectables are much better than like B12 shots in the butt versus cocktails that?
I think a lot of some of those injectables like the Bs, it's a little bit overdone. You don't need quite the amount. It's a little bit hyped.
Of course, I get it.
But yeah, when you're talking efficacy of a vitamin that's given IV or IM versus taken through the gut, you're going to get more of it that way. It doesn't have to pass through the liver and kind of get broken down and hopefully get digested. So there's a lot of factors that play into digestibility of a vitamin, but for the most part, you just make sure you're getting a good quality and talk with an expert. Like
that's the
reach
thing.
Out, quit guessing.
Correct.
And our one of our mottos is why guess? Let's test.
I love it.
Like I'm not going to guess with your health. That's why we do.
Well, you
the
don't have
testing
to anymore.
No,
you don't have to anymore. That's the amazing thing.
Yeah.
If you could ban one exercise, what would it be?
It would be the tripod exercise with people setting up tripods in the gym.
Oh, my goodness.
I think any exercise, if anybody's in the gym working out, regardless of kind of the exercise, I'm okay with it because you're moving, they're being active. Right. I encourage that. But the guys that are in there with selfies, one or two tripods and they're just doing, and I'm like, who's watching your shit? Like that needs to be, I had this conversation with a gym owner the other day. He's like, man, we're going to have to limit it to a certain area because it's getting out of control.
It's out of control. Bro, I'm telling you, I'm guilty. So I
mean, there's time and place. And if you're a content creator,
I'm so pathetic now. I just do the selfie of me walking into the gym.
There you go.
And all you work out.
Yeah.
How crazy. Is that the craziest thing?
Yeah.
Let me just see something. The most ridiculous trend you've seen in the fitness industry, doesn't have to be weights, so to speak. The trend.
I think a lot of it's with drug use. You have a lot of guys. Now, when I say drug use, I refer more to steroids. I'm not saying recreational drugs. or you'll hear like little challenges, and you'll hear guys like doing these caffeine challenges where they'll try to consume an ungodly amount of caffeine in a certain way. And like you're a recipe for a heart attack. Like what the hell are you doing?
Well, they cycle these crazy.
Doing stupid challenges is stupid, but the crazy cycles have and some guys whether they're influencers in some form or fashion with no credentials, no credibility, have never done anything but have got popularity online, and they're saying.
Drugs.
You need to, I took 3 grams of Tren a week for 12 weeks, but now you have all these health issues. But you should try it too because it's
I understand.
It's the way to go. Like no,
Equipose, all that shit.
The Tren thing is popular, and it's I caution.
I love
guys.
that.
Like it's an amazing compound, no doubt. It is a it's a very strong steroid, but it comes with a lot of the asterisks of side effects.
I get it.
Be cautious.
You got to know what you're doing.
More is not better. I'll say that.
Well, it depends. But that segues right into the next topic. What's your best comeback to someone who says, "You know what? You're too big.
I'm too big.
You're too big." You've never heard that?
No, you hear the steroid comment, or like it's not as bad anymore. I think because people steroids forever were looked upon as like very taboo and very like, oh, it's like
ignorance.
You might as well be doing shooting heroin. That's what they could almost qualified it as, But now there's more education behind it, and people realize like, oh, that's maybe not that bad. So you used to hear a lot of those kind of comments, but or. Never not too big. I don't hear that one too often. No, and usually I think guys
they say
like
behind your back.
They may say I never to my face. Like people, it's kind of now the internet has created the keyboard warrior where they're
anonymous.
Everybody's a badass until like they won't say it to your face.
Right.
Like
exactly.
I have a friend that always says that he'll say things like we could have this conversation in person. Like he's like I'm not going to argue with you on the internet, but we could have this conversation in person.
I love that.
Which he won't.
Never happens.
They won't.
It'll never happen. I love that. I love that. If you were starring in a movie, would you be the hero, the villain, or the muscle-bound sidekick?
I'd like to be the hero of.
I see you as the hero.
I'd be down for that.
I see you as the fucking hero, bro. You're like to me. You're Captain America.
Let's go.
That's who you are, bro. You're Captain America.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just recently saw Gladiator 2. Great movie. They did a great job kind of creating a second version of an amazing movie, the original Gladiator.
Oh, I didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
Is it great?
It's a great movie.
I heard it's great.
It is. But, to me, when I think hero, Gladiator, I'm thinking, I would have liked to see a little more muscle behind the guy. He worked out hard for the role and did a great job, but you
would have slapped him around.
I'm like, you want to see we come from the Stallone and Arnold days where
Correct.
like those, you saw them as Rambo and they were. They inspired so many. They had the look. I mean, Rock does a great job.
The Rock is great, but Russell Crowe in the original Gladiator movie was pretty good. Yeah. But even that was a little. But he's he did a good job. Yeah. That was a great movie. Yeah. But I heard this about the second one because I seen some of the trailers. It doesn't look like all that.
It's a good
but
story.
You know what I mean?
It's a good
the
story.
Star doesn't look like all that.
It doesn't look like
If you could swap bodies with anyone for a day, who would it be and why?
I don't know if I could have an exact name, but I would say I would love to somebody like a Lance Armstrong, somebody that has insane endurance. Because my body's genetically built a different way. I'm very explosive. I'm very my strength and again short bursts that's the way I'm built. Lance Armstrong with totally different muscle fibers.
One testicle.
And what's that?
Only one testicle.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Hey, I would just to experience that kind of endurance would be cool.
That's a great answer, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, what it feels like to a guy that could just fucking ride 500 miles without even getting tired.
Yeah.
Wow. That's I love that. Isn't that great? You wake up one day and you have zero muscle mass. What's the first thing you do?
Like to get that muscle back, maybe?
Wake up and you got nothing.
Wake up and got nothing. Ooh, I always said I always kind of joked because when you do work out and you kind of get a little bit of body dysmorphia where you're thinking like, you're never big enough. You're always wanting to be bigger.
Yes, I get that.
And I always joke, especially with Big Al. I had this joke with him, and I told him, I said, I just want to get so fucking big that even if I feel small, I'm still big.
Right. Well, you are actually uneasy, like taking your shirt off before, and because you are so used to being a certain way, you might feel like you just got off the plane. You might be a little afraid. Right. And I got to say, if I looked like you do right now, I wouldn't even own a shirt.
You wouldn't, yeah.
I wouldn't own a shirt.
Yeah.
I would walk around with no shirt on. I'd go to the mall. You wouldn't last 2 seconds in there. They'd be swarming you. I mean, I'm not joking. It's crazy. You're a beautiful looking man.
Thank you.
But I want to say that your insides are as beautiful as your outsides, and I really mean that,
Thank
bro.
You.
And in every way, shape, or form. So. Rapid fire fun.
Yeah, let's go.
Squats or deadlifts?
Squats.
Protein shakes or filet mignon?
Filet mignon all day.
I'm having that tonight. Cardio. Necessary evil or straight up torture?
Necessary evil.
Okay, you do cardio?
Yeah.
Okay. Tight shirts or loose tank tops?
Tight shirts.
I'm looking at one.
It's a 3X, so.
Imagine that. Worst pickup line someone's used on you at the gym?
The how much do you bench? It's not a pickup line, but it's a conversation starter.
I understand. You know what your answer is, right? As much as I want.
Yeah.
Whatever I want. I was at a point
or
in my
you
life.
get the random, and I get as a conversation starter, somebody asks you, do you work out? And I always jokingly say, like, well, it's my New Year's resolution. Like, I just started.
I think if you went to the gym, you'd be all right. A gym partner who talks too much, or one who just stares silently?
Silently, for sure. Because talking, you're going to be wasting time.
All right, that's a real problem.
I get in there, and I talk about intentionality with a lot of my stuff, like being more being intentional with the movement, being intentional with your time. Intentionality will prevent a lot of waste of time.
I talk about intentionality when I show people how to use the phone.
Yeah.
Because for me, I'm a phone guy. That's my arena. I'm a gladiator.
Yeah.
That's my arena.
Yeah, like
intentionality.
You're letting the phone work for you, and you're not working for the phone because
100%.
that phone will consume you. I had a buddy that was he's about intentionality with phone use.
When I get you on the phone, I got you.
Yeah.
It's like you in the gym.
Yeah.
In a way, right?
Yeah.
No pain, no gain, or train smarter, not harder?
Train smarter, not harder. Yeah.
When you were
At
younger,
20 years old, you can get away with no pain, no gain. Absolutely. You're invincible in the gym. You could walk in cold, load up a bar, no problem. The older you get, you definitely got to go smarter, not necessarily harder. And there's a lot of things, you have to look at goals too, but smarter, not harder.
You're at a buffet.
Mm-hmm.
What's on your plate first?
Oh, I spent my good share of days at buffets, especially like the Vegas buffets were the shit back in the day.
They're still great. They're still amazing.
That's where I made my money back from losing at the casino. We'd go to the buffet.
I was the buffet twice. I was Vegas twice.
I'm a meat eater, so anytime I can go get some, with a prime rib or whatever they had going.
Baby lamb chops.
Yeah, we would put a hurting on them. That's for sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
Abs, show off muscle or overrated?
It's a show-off muscle. Like it takes work to have, to show the abs. Like, and that's a misconception. People think if they're overweight and they just do a bunch of crunches, they're going to get abs. Like, an abs is more of a dieting muscle. Like, you strip off the fat, you're going to have it. Your core is always working. You're walking. You're lifting things up. You're working your core. But yes, you can train it. But it takes work to have abs for sure.
Your abs are beautiful, bro.
Thank you.
I want to tell you, that to me is the most impressive thing. I could get arms, I could get a chest, maybe not yours, but abs have eluded me since I'm young. They've eluded me. What's the one thing you'll never understand about non-lifters?
I think it's the people that think like it's bad for you.
It's crazy. I don't want to get too big.
Yeah, I don't want to get too big. Like, and women a lot of times say that I don't want to get like.
Right. I don't want to get muscle bound.
If it's don't worry
about it.
If it was that easy, everybody would be walking around like freaking silverback gorillas. Like it'd be looking super impressive. So, that's a common thing. I think that people think if you just touch weights, they puts on muscle. That's not the case. But muscle is, they're finding is truly like one of the organs of longevity.
Of
like,
course.
It's
They say if you want to live longer, lift weights.
That's it. That's it. You're going to strengthen your bones. You're going to strengthen your cells. Like, and and I can give you a perfect example. If you go have a surgery, so I have a friend of mine that just had very trained, well-trained athlete, and had to take 3-4 weeks off of really anything in the gym. He had a very serious shoulder injury, had to have surgery, couldn't really
do anything,
stress his body.
I understand.
And he just started doing a little cardio, kind of he goes, I feel so out of shape. And that just shows you like how fast your body will kind of
3 or 4 weeks
revert back, but muscle memory, everything will kick back in and you'll re-strengthen that body. But if you don't give your body resistance or put some tension or stress against the body, it will weaken. It's all out of a safety mechanism because, our bodies are meant to survive. We're creatures that are meant to survive. And if you don't stress it in good ways, it will slowly die off.
When you stop resisting.
Yes. And I always say this, if you're not growing, you're dying in life.
Right. It's what it really is.
If you're not trying to grow your mind, you're not trying to grow your body, you're not trying to grow who you are, your network, or whatever it is, like you're not progressing and you're not going up, you're going down.
Tell me one more time. Steve Kuclo.
Steve Kuclo, Kuclo. They can any social media
Instagram.
Instagram.
What's the best?
Facebook.
If someone wanted to contact you, DM
really
you.
wanted to have a conversation with me and is very interested, absolutely could send me a DM or go to upgradedhuman.com. Upgraded. Like, hey, I'm going to be
with an ED at the end. Upgradedhuman.com.
Upgradedhuman.com. You have an app. We're going to have an application form, and then you fill out just to say
They
hey,
can get in touch with us. No excuse. Say, I wish I could talk to Steve Kuclo. I wish I could meet Steve Kuclo. I wish I could have a conversation with Steve Kuclo. I just want to say this is one hunk of beautiful man. He's a boy in a man's body, and now that he has a son, I feel like he's graduated.
It is a
I
graduation.
honestly feel that
Absolutely.
about you. I see a difference.
I think there's several graduations in life. You graduate when you get married because really marriage is 2 deaths and 1 resurrection. Your old self has to die, and then you come together as one.
You die when you get divorced too.
That's the death of the relationship.
Talk about that.
But I believe that is one, and then the next.
It's a big move, going from the single life to sharing your life,
absolutely.
having a real partner.
And then the next one is parenthood. Absolutely, I think
no question.
It's the greatest purpose provider in the world that we could ever have. I think a lot of people lack purpose. And a lot of times people do things out of just to try to find purpose, and it may not be the right time. Like, maybe the relationship sucks, but let's have a kid. And that doesn't necessarily make the relationship better, but, it does provide some different purpose in life. But when you have a great marriage, a great relationship, and then you're on that same page, you have a child, that parenthood, it puts a whole new fire under you and like a whole new purpose. It should. Like it
should. If you're wired right.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Absolutely.
Some guys, I met guys that got 6 baby mamas.
Yeah.
Each one has 3 or 4, and it's crazy. Attitudes, a lot of sick attitudes.
Yeah.
But for guys like you, guys like me, it is leveling up. That's what I like to say in business. You level up. All of a sudden, you brought this little thing into the world. It didn't ask to be here. It didn't say, create me.
Yeah.
It was through your actions, even if you didn't make the actual decision and it's not what you wanted. But it does provide you an opportunity to grow up. Mm-hmm. Stevie, it's been like a privilege, bro.
This has been
amazing.
You.
I'm so excited. What a podcast this is. Wake up and smell the coffee. You listen to Steve Kuclo, you can become great. I know I'm going to be hitting him up. I want that diet. I want to know how to get my abs back. I want to know what sort of cocktails I can make so I can become better at 67
Become an upgraded human.
I want to be upgraded. I don't know about a human. I'm still trying to figure that part out, but I can upgrade whatever I am. And thank you all for tuning in. Steve Kuclo, upgradedhuman.com. Get in there. Stop it. Stop being average.
Let's go.
Take care now.